And your pasta, no clue, far from the plan. Tottenham stranded, in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo who waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fans on the side, hearts turned to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Christmas in the air, it's speak of change. Hope on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass. And close to future fading fast. Where's the Leo who waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, Spurs fans? Welcome to another episode of Tottenham Away, the best place to be post-match analysis. Smash a like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, all the usual goodness. Thanks for being here as always. Another loss for Spurs. We're going to make you proud. We're going to make you proud, says Nuno, as he comes back to White Hart Lane to haunt us. Another loss for Spurs, 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. It was after a disastrous first 17 minutes. We'll get into it. Spurs did rally. Probably should have got a draw if we're fair about it, but that's not how football works. You've got to take your chances and you've got to be good enough. And we weren't when it mattered. In the comments, we'll try and go through as many comments as we can. So get your conversation flowing. Any topics you want us to discuss, any questions you'd like us to answer, get your super chats in, and I promise we will get through those as well. We've got 400, 500 in the building already. It's absolutely gone bonkers. This is going to be a big show. I'll be honest with you guys, before we get going, first of all, happy Easter to everyone who celebrates it. I celebrate it. It's a big thing for me, Easter, and I had a great time with the family yesterday, barbecue, drinks, jokes, and just nice before the toxicity that is Spurs. So if you do celebrate Easter, happy Easter to each and every one of you out there and your families. I know we say this often, and I know we mention this all the time. When I say I'm numb to it, I'm genuinely numb to what is going on at Spurs. I know we always say, big up to everyone that's just joined us. I know we say, you know what, I don't care. It's all about the Europa. I don't feel anything. Guys, I take you back to when we beat Man City 4-0. And I said to everyone, guys, Man City aren't in good form. Let's let's get a run of games together first, and then I'll start being positive and feeling good about things. And it hasn't happened. It simply hasn't happened. And I think we're in danger now of allowing the Europa Cup to mask the not cracks, but the damage that is being done to this football club. We are terrible. Yeah, we rally. Yeah, we create chances, but we can't keep saying after every loss we're unlucky. Oh, but if Richarlison scored. Oh, but if Solanke. Oh, but if Odebert. Oh, but if Tell. Oh, but if Ku. Oh, but. These buts don't matter. We're 16th, and we will finish 17th this season. Liverpool will beat us at their ground. I don't think West Ham away. I think Palace will be a difficult game for us because we're going to have our minds on Bodo Glimt. What we're watching is a team that isn't very good. And people, I'll come to you, Michael. And for me, people that say, oh, but Forest were lucky tonight. Anyone that's watched Forest this season, they've defended like that, holding on to a lead for most of this season. That's what they do. It wasn't luck. It's what they do. Look, I think we should have got a draw tonight. I think a draw would have been fair, but I thought Frankfurt deserved a draw midweek and they never got it. So it doesn't matter what I think. The result is all that matters. Listen, guys, it's another loss where we are on course for breaking the record for the most amount of losses. 18. If I just quickly bring up this image for you guys, these are the defeats this season so far. Newcastle, Arsenal, Brighton, Palace, Galatasaray, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Liverpool, Forest, Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton, Leicester, Liverpool, Villa, City, AZ Alkmaar, Fulham, Chelsea, Wolves and Forest today. We've still got 5 games to go. There's going to be more on that list. It's simply woeful. And if we look at the charts comparing the previous manager, I stole this from Sava, by the way. I'm sure he won't mind. This chart comparing Antonio Conte, the position he had us in during his reign, compared to Ange. The drop-off is unreal. Unreal. And Ange has been here longer than Conte, guys. He's been here longer than Conte, and he's had far more money to spend. Look, we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. The reality is, though, no one gives a shit anymore. No one cares about the league. No one cares about the Premier League. If you do, I don't know what for. We can't get relegated. We can't get into Europe. We are what we are. Mari, go. Guys, I'll disappear for 20 minutes. I will be back. It's
Stel, bug the team or fuck off. Bug the team or fuck off.
You fucking cunts. You're all cunts, all here. You cunts.
I didn't want to demonetize you, but since we are on it, right? Bug the team
I
or
don't
fuck
care.
off. You can't.
Listen, the only positive from tonight is this. Porro made 100 appearances for Spurs, and that's where it ends. Well done, Porro. Congratulations, 100 games. Well done, Porro.
Last week.
Yeah. Mari, we'll go around, let everyone have a minute or two to speak, and then we'll get into the game. But
I'll be quick on this.
That's what Forest do.
Last week, I went on, and the reason I said what I said is, of course, we're light years in the way of doing anything seriously in the league, winning the league, but the ambition has to be there. Every year, the ambition of the sense of we want to do the best in the league, in challenging, and in hopes to winning. And I want to get a manager who can begin that process or accomplish that. And I got roasted, right? We're a cup team. We're this team.
We are.
And then see, and that's the problem. That's the problem. This is where I'm going. The very next morning, Sava has a stream. He has a show, which was excellent because he twisted around to the sense of, not saying, not putting the blame on the managers on the field because Levy doesn't play, other than, he runs the club. And I'm getting to a point here, right? So all this weekend I'm hearing the league doesn't matter. The league doesn't matter. We're a cup team. We're going to win the Europa League. The league doesn't matter. We're a cup team. And so for me, I'm just like going, this is the reason why my mentality will always be that I want to do good in the cups and the leagues, because you know what? I'm listening to the commentators on American TV. They'll say it seems like Spurs doesn't care about the league, right? That first half, you see that first half, right? They're saving all their energy for the Europa League, you know. And for me, like if I'm a paying fan, I'm disgusted because I want to see my team do well, not in the league, but also in the cup. Now I'm gonna go around because I'm gonna bring up something that's controversial, but you know, I'm 100% leaving out. But I can sympathize and understand someone who's leaving in because if we somehow win the Europa League, this club has hit the objective because we are a cup team. If we win the Europa League, right, Daniel Levy can say, what are you guys complaining and protesting about? There goes your cup. Now shut the fuck up. I don't, yeah. 17th in the league, but we got the Europa League. Doesn't matter. And see, that's what I want to prevent. And so now, even going on X, you got people saying, yeah, it's a bad loss, but we got the Europa League. And for me, I feel disgusted every week that we get pumped by teams left and right. But this season, we lost to Nottingham Forest, not once, but twice. I would never imagine that in my wildest dreams, you know, that this current day Tottenham will lose to teams, to the losses that we've had to. And so for me, I'm checked out. All right, let's win the cup. The league doesn't matter anymore. I want you.
Murray, let me go around and give everyone their say. Listen, I agree with everything you just said. William, big up, member for 24 months. And also Ryan. Thank you for this. In the Europa League, will Ange walk? And if not, will Daniel sack him? If we have a poor start next season, what players will come in if we do win the Europa League? Listen, I think Ange is gone if we don't win the Europa because he hasn't got a leg to stand on whatsoever. He's clinging on by a thread as it is. So I'll be stunned if he's here next season if we're at the Europa. If he wins the Europa, 100% he's here next season, in my opinion. By the way, I didn't get a chance to say hello to Dan, Michael, Sava, and David for joining us. Big up, guys. You joined as I was mid mini rant, not big one, just a mini one. Dan, how you doing, mate? You okay? All good?
Same Spurs, different day. I can actually go and say that again. First time I haven't said that was in the last game. And it has just proved again to me how desperate Ange was for winning that game, that he actually even changed the tactics a bit and just made us go ultra defensive because we needed that win. He needed that win to have a chance of saving his career. And then we just go back to playing the same shit over and over and over again. It's, I mean, when is it going to end apart from the end of the season? I mean, yeah, okay, for the past month, I've already been cut off. I've already been cut off for ages now. Like, the league's done and dusted. We can't get nothing out of it. Okay, we can't get relegated now. It's nothing to be proud of, but it's done and dusted. So, to an extent, it's frustrating still. But it's like you and others say, I'm literally numb to it now, where I just look at it and just, meh. That's about all I've got to say to it. Just like, oh, we conceded. When I'd already laid there and called out I was laying in bed with my wife watching the football, and I called it out and said, you watch, the way they're doing it at the moment, they're going to do 3 passes straight in there in the back of the net. Bang, 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 straight in the back of the bloody net. We were just lucky it was offside. And it's who we are. And it has become now almost an acceptance of a lot of supporters, I think, that it's just who we are, mate. Deal with it. And this is not acceptable. This is not good. If we go and win that Europa and finish 17th, that is going to be, I can't even describe how it would make that season. Yes, we will be loving it. We've won something. We are a cup club. We have never been a league club. We won't be a league club ever until Levy fucks off. As all we ever have been at Spurs is a club, is a cup club. Nothing more, nothing less. But then we've only got 1 cup in 16, 17 years either. Something has got to change. And the last bit I'll say on it, I see a lot on the chat, on other ones and other channels and that, of people talking about like we're already in the final. Hang on a minute. These Glints ain't no mugs. They ain't in the semis as well for no reason. I'm not saying we're going to be playing bloody Barcelona or something, yeah. But I think a few people are already a step ahead of themselves. Remember, we are Tottenham Hotspur. It is who we are, mate. We have Ange Postecoglou as a fucking manager. And everyone's basically already saying that Glint's done and dusted, we're through to the final. Yeah. Don't do it, because Ange is the manager and it's who we are, mate.
So here we are, mate. Michael, we are bang on track to smash the record of the most losses ever in a season. And do you know what? We're going to do it. We are going to lose the most games ever in a season. It's going to happen. Surely. This whole Europa Cup thing is just masking over the cracks.
Mate, I've said it like 4 months ago that we are going to break the record. I've said it. I've listed the games we are going to lose when we are on like 12 losses, and we are now approaching 20. And every single game I said we will lose, we lost. So, I get. But listen, still, me saying that means I am an Arsenal fan, and I should shut the fuck up, fuck off, or back the team, right? So, sorry, mate. I know we shouldn't be bringing that up, right? But apparently I'm not a fan. We are doing these shows, 6 of us, and the other guys that join in, right? We go in, analyze the game, but apparently we should just shut up and just be positive and back the team, right? When the team is not only bending themselves over and letting everyone have a go, but also bending us over in the process, right? We are getting used because of them, right? That's how I look at the game. So, listen, I've said it on Sava's show, right? That, and same thing as you said, and same thing as Dan said, right? It's just like I hate this feeling that I'm sitting in front of the PC or in front of the TV. I see us concede, and there is literally no emotions left in me. Like it's such a damning, thing to think about when it comes to sport, right? And I have a perfect example because like the Speedway League has started 2 weeks ago, right? And my team is doing great, but we recently drew away at one of the other clubs, right? We drew away. Draws are really not common, right? In Speedway. And I was furious, right? I was just cussing out in front of the TV. One of the riders didn't do well, and I was just, angry. And I just felt the emotion of supporting a team of like, I know what they can do and they haven't delivered, so I'm angry, right? Whereas with this team, I'm just like, seriously, we were watching the Forest game. My girlfriend was sitting right next to me here, right? And we are literally talking about planning a wedding and all that stuff, right? Forest score in like 5 minutes. I just turned my head around at the PC, watched the goal, turned back to her and started talking back about the wedding, right? And trust me, I'm not keen on talking about the wedding, but it's more fun than watching us play.
Mike,
playing Scrabble is more fun than watching us play. Let me bring in Savra in. Quick super chat.
One thing I just want to say quick.
Let me do these super chats because I won't get them done. Then I'll come to you. Then I'll go to Sava. Big up to Ian who says it's like Ange wins in the Europa League just to spite us fans. Sava's facts killed me tonight. I'm sure Sava's going to repeat them now. A user says players seem to have checked out of the Premier League. Even if we win the Europa Cup, I don't want Ange here for next season. Honestly, you think another season of this? Scott M, channel member for 43 months. Original fan. Big up, Scott. Excuses and hyping crap fans get what they deserve. Yeah, Dan, what was you going to say? Then I'll go to Sava.
I was just a quick thing on like what Mike said, the way you're basically saying we're getting bent over and everyone's having a go. You're so right. We are just getting shafted game after game. By the end, if Daniel Levy has got any sort of feelings or morals, which I really doubt he has, he's going to get each and every one of these players to go and see a social worker. and I think by the end of the season, I think most of us will need a social worker as well. Seriously, it has been that bad. I'm agreeing with you, Mike. Awful.
Either a social worker or Class A drugs. One of the two we're going to need.
Yeah.
Sava, are you closer to a social worker or drugs?
I'm just, I'm at the stage where this is hilarious. Like, what's funny about this is, I just said it to the boys on my show. Same result every week, same pattern every week, same defending every week, lose by 1 goal every week, but still we've got fans that think this is good. We've got fans that say we're the better team.
Yeah.
We're playing better. We have more chances than them. Yes, because Nottingham Forest, this is how they play. Nottingham Forest, did anyone expect Nottingham Forest to come to White Hart Lane and have 60% possession? This is not what they do. They sit in, they hit you on the counter, they grab their goal and they say, break us down. And our fans don't get it. They do not get it. They say things like, on tonight's play, we've dominated. Dominated what? But we had loads of crosses, right? How many went in? But Vicario's had nothing to do. Well, he had to pick the ball out the net twice because we lost 2-1. Like, this is the copium is at the stage where I don't think people can be helped. I genuinely don't think it can be helped. We're at a stage where too many fans now have normalised losing still. They've normalised it. Years gone by, we would have said, oh, gosh, this is our 11th defeat of the season. Oh, God, it might be 12. We're at 18 and people are going, don't matter. We're in the Europa. 1 win against Frankfurt. By the way, a penalty. 1 penalty against Frankfurt has made everybody in this fan base start saying things like, it's only the league, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about all those people who have paid for their season tickets and paid to go and watch. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
But we were a better team in the second half. I would bloody hope we were a better team in the second half. Right? This is where we're at. We're at a stage where Richarlison is now outscoring our record striker, who, Stel, do you remember, fixes Spurs. He fixes Spurs. This is hilarious. We are so bad, and still, I'm seeing clips from YouTubers tonight saying things like, "God, weren't Tellen Odeberg magnificent?" Right? People saying, "Oh my God, how good was so and so?" What are they watching? What? I'll leave it there still because I could go all night. We're just it's funny. I will say this again. I'll end it on this. I don't care if we win the Europa League. This manager, I will never ever support. He is horrendous. And his post-match interview where he said we couldn't have played better if we tried. We were 2-0 down in 20 minutes at home. Just F off. Leave. Will Still ripped him apart in Sky Sports afterwards. Jamie Carragher ripped him apart. It's the same shit every day, and our fans lap this up. They deserve it at this point, Stel. They deserve it at this point. Opium.
I
Totally agree.
this too. And what gets me so fucking mad is that people are saying, I don't care if we lose all the rest of the games. Like they accept this. Like I understand. Yes, we have an opportunity to win the Europa League, but this team, our club, should take every game that you play, that you put on the badge, you should try to at least win. And as fans, we should want our team to win. For them to say, oh, wow, it's just a 2-1 loss to Forest is absolutely disgusting that they accept this shit. And it's just like, okay, he wins the Europa League, and now I have to watch that shit next season? Dude, I don't want to stream anymore. If I'm not to go through this next season.
Guys, imagine you are a UEFA Pro licensed coach, right? And the guy who got his job out of playing Football Manager rips you apart on live TV. like because I bet you heard about Will Still, right? But he got the job in Stade Reims. I think I don't know how to pronounce the name of the club, of the French club, right? He got a job as a data analyst for them out of his job, out of the presentation he made on how he played with the team on Football Manager, right? And then he was so good at the job that they appointed him a head coach of the team, and they were paying £20,000 a week for every game he coached them without the license, right? And this guy went on national TV in England, right, and ripped our system to shreds. Like this is where we are at, right? And kudos to Will Still, by the way, brilliant career. Like every single one of us would love to have a career like him, right? But it's just so funny that we have a guy managing our club that does this, right? And as you said, Mari, it's honestly shocking for me, right? Because I was talking with the missus today, right? And like she was saying, like that she kind of like understands like that the players don't have the motivation or whatever, right? And to an extent, like I agreed with her take, right? But I also told her that there is something like professional pride in those that these players should have, right? They should care about how they look, right? They are better than 17th, and they know that, right? So they should perform that way. Yet we are still getting our asses kicked, right? And same thing with fans. Respectfully, we do not support Crystal Palace of old, or Norwich, or Sheffield, or Burnley, or fucking Wolves, or Everton, right? We support Spurs, and being 17th or 16th is a fucking disgrace, right? It's a disgrace that this club is where it is, right? And fans just saying, I accept another loss if we win the semifinals. No, why can't we do both? Why can't we win the league and win the semifinals, right? Like we are acting as if it was just pure luck that we are where we are, right? That we are a championship club that somehow got into Europa League, right? And that we should be grateful that we stayed up and are in the semis of the Europa League. That's not the way it works.
This man wouldn't even win a league on Football fucking Manager if he took over the other 19 teams and done what he wouldn't even win on Football Manager, for fuck's sake. He is awful. Get this prick out.
Yeah. And on that note, by the way, guys, I have to go because it's a bit late. I just wanted to get that in. Have fun with the show, boys. Bye bye.
It's all changed since you got engaged.
Nah, it's because I got the job and I have to wake up tomorrow. Yeah.
David?
Bye.
Yeah, mate.
Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Was that sorry? Is that me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was my turn. So obviously 2 weeks ago I had that charity boxing fight. You probably it's that eye, isn't it? I've got a couple of black eyes still, and I must say that was more fun than watching Tottenham getting punched in the face. But tonight, I think it's systematic, particularly that first sort of 15 minutes. That's systematic of the players not doing their jobs properly, because set pieces wise, crosses into the box, there was no one putting their head on the ball, tracking the runners, etc. I sent Dan a message. Notice the 2 goals we conceded compared to when Kulusevski got his head on the end of a corner, and Harry Toffolo, making his 4th start for Nottingham Forest, a reserve team player, absolutely broke his back to clear the ball off the line. So I thought the first 15 minutes was systematic of our players not being up for the job. However, Sav's quite right in this, in that we did push and we put a lot of effort in to try and get back in the game, but there was no real quality. There was no real direction in that. It was very huff and puff with little quality, and that's systematic of Ange's management over the course of his tenure at the club. You could argue as well, bring Daniel Levy into it, the quality of players not being good enough. That's systematic of him being a bad chairman over decades now. So it's a combination of things. If I look at it in isolation, very bad first 15 minutes. Kudos to Nottingham Forest, because their game plan was perfect. Hit Tottenham early when they're cold, sit back and defend because they're not that creative going forward. We can sit there and shut them out. If they put crosses into the box, we got 3 big, massive centre halves to clear the ball away, and that's what happened most of the time. Fair play to Richarlison for getting his goal. I thought that was actually a good finish.
Shout
Yeah.
out to him returning from injury. It was a good finish, good cross, good goal. But I think it was 46 crosses someone mentioned or something stupid like that. One of them's bound to go in eventually. So I think if you look at it in isolation and nothing else is going on in this season, you think, okay, slow starts cost us. We didn't quite have enough quality to get back in the game. But because we can't look at it in isolation, because of the season we've had so far, you can't just sit there and go, "Oh, that is the reason we are where we are in the league," because we don't have enough balls in the team to sit there and do the dirty part of the game. And we haven't got enough quality going back the other way to try and score goals when we really need goals. That we are where we are because we deserve to be where we are. And anyone thinks that Bodo Glimt looking forward is going to be an easy game you can pick and choose. And big up Sava for his stream earlier, because I'm sitting there going on that. How can you sit there and go, I don't mind losing today. We got to focus on Europa. For one, we're not a very good football team. You can't pick and choose which games you want to try and win. We should be trying to win every game. If my team representing Tottenham go and play a little five-a-side friendly, a bunch of kids that, you know, for charity, I want my team to win that game of football. That's the mentality I want in my football club. So go out there and try and win against Nottingham Forest. Yes, try not to break a leg because we've got a big game in 10 days' time. But get that mentality. And going back to Ange, at the Man City game end of last season, I think that's what he was trying to get through to us, that we should be trying to win every single game. He's not done a great job following it through with himself. But that's the mentality we need in that club, is that we try and win every single club. But just to touch on Bodo Glimt before I pass over, anyone thinks it's going to be an easy job, these are their last European home game results. Lazio 2-0 win, Olympiacos 3-0 win, FC Twente 3-2 win after extra time, Maccabi Tel Aviv 3-1 win, Besiktas 2-1 win, FC Porto 3-2 win, Red Star 2-1, Jaliona from Poland 4-1 win. They don't lose many games at home. In fact, they win most of their games at home. And that's the reason they're in the semi-final of the European Trophy. So if you think we're going to walk up there, I've seen loads of people buy their tickets to Bilbao already. And I don't blame you to plan ahead and be optimistic. But this is Tottenham Hotspur. And we're an absolute basket case of a football club, from Daniel Levy at the top down to the players that play in the middle and managing it. So I hope we win the Europa League, but I don't see us doing it unless we buck up our ideas and do the basics.
Dave,
that's my summary, Mari.
I'm totally with you, mate, on the aspect of, I said it on Sava's channel, I've already seen too many people in chats, too many people on other shows literally talking like we're in the final. It's only Bodo Glimt. Yeah, they might have some weird, strange name, like other teams like Carrier Bag, whatever else. I don't care. They ain't no mugs. What you just read out, do some checking up. We would get destroyed by a lot of those teams at home. And people are thinking these Bodo Glimts are just some mugs that we're going to do 3-0 at home and walk up there and do 3-0. And I think some people might actually get a shock because they ain't no mugs. They really ain't. And then it's just this thing I've been saying about 3 times on Sava's show. So I just want to bring it up on here because I know Sava's opinion. He knows my opinion. But it's mainly Ian, Mari, Dave. Who would you rather have on that pitch, game out? Milenkovic or Romero?
You know what? I'm going to be real honest, and then you know me. As much as I love Romero, but the last 2 seasons I've had to be very, very critical of him. Milenkovic.
Proper player.
Yeah.
Ian?
No, same, Milenkovic. Romero had to be pulled at half time. He'd have got a red, wouldn't he? If that had come in today.
When I last asked you this question about 2 months ago, you totally lost it on Sava's channel and just totally called us both out. It's took 2 months to change your mind. Only 2 months. When it was only a few days ago that you were screaming on how he's the best player we've got.
I thought he was superb in Frankfurt, Dan.
He was. But that's the problem.
Superb.
He's only ever good for the odd fucking game. He don't turn up for the rest.
Consistency.
There is no consistency in this. Dave, who would you rather have, Milenkovic or Romero?
I'd rather have Nuruddin Naibit. But yeah, I'd have Milenkovic because he's a proper defender. The thing with Romero is he has brilliant world-class defensive moments, but he's not a brilliant world-class defender because the one thing you need as a brilliant defender is consistency, and he's not consistent enough. He's surrounded by brilliant players in Argentina, so it makes him look better. But he doesn't want to be there long-term, and I get that. We would want to be at Tottenham long-term anyway, but we can make money off of him, and I would recommend our club do that in the summer, ASAP.
I just think Romero fits a well-disciplined system. You know, Argentina, he has that. The times where he goes off the system, he gets called out immediately. So if he goes to Atletico, he's going to have that structure with Simeone, because Simeone, we know, doesn't play that shit. So he needs to.
Mari, I don't want to butt in, but Atletico Madrid are the perfect club for him. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that, Dave.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. It's just
if he's world class, Mari, if he's world class, shouldn't he still be standing out in that shit team?
Exactly, Dan. Exactly, Dan. Exactly.
I'm going to say something now that I know a lot of people are just going to think I've got.
I agree with you.
I think Romero is the most overrated player we have ever had at Spurs.
I agree.
On his day, he's the bollocks. No two ways about it. But then for the next 5 games, some of the mistakes he made and people call him world class. The fact that he had to get taken off today, along with VDV, for fucking Davis and
they both were terrible.
For Danso, I think that just about says it all. Yeah, his head ain't with it and whatever. It's the tactics. I get all that. But if you are a world-class defender or just a world-class player, even if it's everything against you, you should still stand out.
We've said this all along. We've been told by everybody, wait till Van der Ven and Romero are back together. Their defending tonight was utterly shambolic. Yeah, Van der Ven. I love Van der Ven for what he's good at, right?
Yeah.
But you know when I always say I'd love to see him in a flat back 4 when he's purely got to defend.
Like Milenkovic.
Yeah, he answers so many of those questions by how bad he is in the air. It's so terrible. Bad in the air for a guy that's so tall. Romero, again, when we're talking about, we're talking about, listen, I think Romero has world-class games. But there's a difference between having world-class games and being world-class. Today, again, this guy has got the bozo gene, right? He's 20, is he 27 now? Maybe 27, Romero?
28. Yeah,
right.
27, 28.
And he's still stepping into midfield and kicking people up in the air. You don't see Virgil van Dijk and the likes do that. You don't see him.
So, don't start on Van Dijk. Have you seen that video of all the elbows and everything?
Yeah, hang on, Lubo. I'm not going to entertain any conversation of Van Dijk versus Romero. We're
talking about all of this.
Don't care. But Lubo, you're doing what you always do. You're bringing in things that are nothing to do with what we're talking about, right? Virgil van Dijk, right? That is the way we talk about Romero in this fan base, right? Virgil van Dijk is a Rolls Royce of a central defender. Christian Romero has great games, then he has 5 or 6 shit ones. And yet all I heard was when he's back, when Van der Ven's back, we looked better once again when those two weren't on the pitch, right? We've got to stop overrating these players. We've got to stop doing it. You burst onto my channel the other day, Lubo, giving it the Romero's world class. I never want to hear again that he's shit. The very next game in 45 minutes.
Was world class.
Hang on, let me finish. But there's more. But games like today are more often what we see from him than Thursday, right? He has got to. Top players stand out like a sore thumb in bad teams. Yeah, look at Mateus Cunha at Wolves. He stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't he? which is why he's going to get a mega money move this summer. Romero doesn't stand out.
When it comes to centre-backs, and to go back to the Van Dijk comparison, this is what Jamie Carragher said. It's one of the few things I've agreed with him. A top world-class centre-back makes the other defenders around him better defenders. Romero doesn't do that in our team. And obviously the mistakes as well. They don't make many mistakes. And that's why Romero isn't world-class. But I agree, Sava. He does world-class moments. He has world-class games. But to be considered world-class as a defender, you need to do it consistently. You need to make little to few mistakes over the course of the season. And you need to make the defensive line around you, the keeper behind you, better players in themselves. That's what top world-class centre-backs do. And he doesn't do
and he
that.
didn't do that under Conte. He's not done that under Ange, right? He just doesn't. I mean, this is now 4 years with this guy. Like, at what stage can we just say he's a good defender, but nowhere near the levels needed? So if anyone comes to Tottenham this summer and went, here's 60 million for it, I'm biting your hand off for that money for this player.
And the frustrating thing for me is because I see every game that he plays for Argentina, and there's a big contrast. I honestly I know he does not respect Tottenham. He does not respect the club. Tonight he was the captain, right? Because Sonny's not there, and Madison's not there. He is the captain, and you're doing that type of shit. You wouldn't be doing that from Argentina. Scaloni's gonna pull his dumbass off the field. So that tells you the respect that he has for this club is not consistent. It's not there. And tonight's performance, you've seen it. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. Like, on Thursday we saw, okay, that was good. That was great captain material. So you can understand Ian going, yeah. And then tonight, you get this. It's like, what is it? So
he got taken off.
He still makes mistakes for Argentina, by the way. Yeah. Just a quick one, just to follow up on Mari. I agree with you. He's amazing for Argentina, but he still made a mistake for them against Brazil when they walloped him 5 or 6-1. He was the reason they let him win. He's a bit dozy sometimes.
Scaloni,
but yeah, sorry
for that one mistake. Yeah.
I mean, like some people saying on here, if we sell him, we won't replace him. His replacement would be Vucevic. I mean, Matt Watson, what you're saying there. Do you know what? I don't even. I mean, as all you need is a manager who's got half a clue about football. And we all like football in different ways. I like football being played very defensive, counter-attacking, doing what Forest did tonight. Take up all the pressure because both your centre-backs or all three of your centre-backs are hard enough to do it, good enough in the air to do it, and then can just pass the ball forward for the midfield who are then better to take it up. I don't want my defenders on the halfway line. Okay, push up a little bit. But that's just how we all see football different and like different football. I mean, I can see it. He's fed up with the tactics. He's fed up. Well, yeah, but then he must have been fed up for the past 3 years because only in the past 3 years has he stood out in certain games, or maybe even 2 games in a row. Somebody name me in the past 3 years where he stood out 5 times in a row as that world-class defender.
He doesn't.
And what's so discouraging too is, there's a history, there's a pride. Walter Samuel, Zanetti, you name, the legendary Argentinian defenders for country and club has played well. You look at Zanetti. For Inter and for Argentina, you get consistency. You get the same one. So it is so discouraging, and I'm ready for him to go Atletico. If they want to give us 60 mil, take him. Take him.
Go to 2312 Jordan and bring him up on the screen if you can, please.
2312.
Yep. He's the last one before 2313.
Excuses for Romero?
No. Come down a bit more, 2312, just before it goes to 2313.
Oh.
For me, he has just banged the nail on the head. Not with that one, keep coming down.
On Romero's poor form.
We used to absolutely slate Dyer, yeah? And Romero has games like Dyer more often than good games, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm not just picking on him tonight. I think the whole team was shambolic, but he is meant to be our world-class defender. This one that everybody rates as this excellent defender. Where the fuck is he ever at? Bar a game here and there. The player pisses me off. I do think he is the most overrated player we have had. And we used to absolutely slam Eric Dyer when Eric Dyer's probably had a few better games than Romero's had in consistency. Yeah. And that's deep.
I want to go to Ian. A big up to Maz. I was not going to forget about this. Romero was terrible tonight. Same VDV. But there are two players, Tell and Saw. Saw is someone I've wanted gone for Sumo forever. Saw is useless. I've been getting hate for it, but Saw is useless. Tell is useless. Pick one, Ian. Who was much worse? They both were terrible.
Ian, please leave Tell to me, please.
What do I think? I think today's symptomatic of Angie's Tottenham. You can't be out wide open and giving teams 2-goal starts, and that's the problem. And for me, first half, first 15 minutes, we're wide open, and they're 2-0 up. After that, I thought we were going down the wings. I thought the movement of the ball was quicker than normal. You know, normally you fall asleep watching it. It's like pass backwards, sideways all the time. And the other team was set up very quickly and you got no chance of beating a low block. I thought we were better. I thought Odebear and Tell both went at their fullbacks. I thought the balls across, thought the final balls were poor. And that was, and for me, that was the problem. I think that with, you know, you look at the stats for today, 22 shots against 4, 70% possession. I think if we had a properly coached team that don't play open, I think we win that game tonight. You're laughing, Sav. I really do. Do you think we'd have lost that? Do you think we'd have lost that with Glasner in charge, Sav? Not a chance.
How many games, excuse me, how many games can you come on it after we've lost and your rhetoric is the same? We have more possession, we have more shots. Lubo, I hate to break it to you. Everyone in the world knows, excuse me, everyone in the world knows what Nottingham Forest do. Nottingham Forest let the opposition have 70-75% of the ball. Nottingham Forest will let the opposition have shots. This is what Nottingham Forest do. So when you're coming on going 22 shots to 4, hang on, let me finish.
Go on.
When because you did this when we lost to Fulham, you did this when we lost to somebody. It was just, look at the shots. Listen, I don't really remember any of these shots that were actually, I mean, there was a header tip round the post, there was a shot tip round the post, and one cleared off the line.
And other than that, save when he went down, when he was injured, wasn't there?
Yeah, but
keeper.
Look, but we can't keep saying we're having more possession and shots than the opposition. That's the way other teams set up against us. Their game plan worked. Ours didn't.
You know what I just said? If you put a Glasner in charge and we're not wide open, we win that game tonight.
Well, I mean, you put most managers in charge. Yeah, sure, but
Lubo, can I say one thing, right? Lubo, can I say? Let's say we've got Glasner in charge. We're still not putting these chances away. We've wasted millions on these strikers, whether it's Solanke, Richarlison, Tell, Odegaard, none of them, Johnson, none of them are at the level of anything we've had in the past. Sheringham, Klinsmann, Keane, Defoe, Kane, Son, Berbatov, none of them, not a single one of them. And if you put three of them together, they don't even match one of those players. So yeah, Glasner will definitely make us better defensively. He'll definitely make us more compact in midfield. Up top, we are shit. We're awful.
Shambolic.
But it is
don't
the
have
chances
finishes.
we're creating as well, still. What a different,
Clinical.
but what a different manager will do is a different type of chance. All we are doing under this manager is the same thing. It's get the ball wide, try and lay it back into the area, and then we're not finishing. I completely, Stel, I completely agree with you about the absolute waste of money.
We concede less goals with a better manager. That I agree with.
But
We're
look what
defensively
Glasner
better.
did with Mateta, right? Look
Yeah,
how
yeah,
he
yeah.
gets performances
Yeah,
like
maybe.
that. But
Maybe.
the worrying thing for me, to go back to Mari's or Dan's, whoever asked about Tell and Star, the worrying thing about this for me,
Yeah.
we've got large portions of our fan base who want to sign Tell for £50 million,
Oh,
right? I didn't see him. He can't beat a man. He cannot beat a man. His crosses are crap. He can't take his man on. All of his shots seem to fire straight up the defender's arse. And we've got fans going, I thought Tell was brilliant first. What does he do? I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that he's 19. We signed him knowing his age. I don't want to hear that he's 19.
Can I ask one question about Tell to all the panel? Have you seen Tell do something that stands out that you haven't seen Mikey Moore do? Just out of curiosity.
nothing.
Well,
No.
listen, I've said that all along. Tell's blocking Mikey Moore's pathway.
Nothing.
If we're going to spend 50 million on a winger, you go and buy Mbuemo from Brentford.
If
There you
I'm
go.
going to be serious,
Yeah, I agree.
Ian, I'm gonna make you happy. Tell is blocking Moore's playing time, and for me, I'm gonna say Sar is blocking Gray's time to play because Sar is terrible.
I've got to tell you something. I looked at that. I looked at that today, and I just thought, I think it's just disgraceful. You look at what Sar did today. You might as well play Gray because he couldn't have played it. He couldn't have done any worse than what Sar did.
Yeah, I would have not seen Gray because Sar is terrible, terrible. Him and Tell were terrible. I can't.
You know what I'm going to call on this, yeah? Dietrich said this over a year ago, that Sar is absolute, that he's shit, and he ain't going to go nowhere. As he should be an athlete, and that's all he should be, yeah?
I said this 3 years ago.
Dietrich said it a year ago on here, and a lot of the chat just laughed at him and that. Well, there you go. There's another one who got it right, yeah? And the other thing I was like to say about Tell, honest to God, from what I have actually seen, and I can't say I've seen much of either of them, a couple of games here or there, I personally think Overbert looks better on the ball than Tell.
Much better.
Overbert is much better.
I'm not saying he's done anything. I'm not saying that you see much at the end of it. Same problem I see with Bergvall. Very good getting forward, this and that, but there's never or hardly ever, bar a game, with
and there's potential with Odebert. A good coach can maybe get something out of him. You know that.
I know. This is what I'm basically getting at.
Got something about him.
There's things holding it back. Like I think Bergvall is a bit overrated because you never see anything at the end of what he does. Now and again, you might see that good pass go forward, take it round 3 people or something like he can do, but you never see the end target. Until, honestly, I can't even see. I just don't think he's quite ready. I can see potential there, but I don't even think he's ready for a big league yet. And honestly, from what I've seen, I think Odebert looks better on the ball, and I think he looks better on the ball. I can't say better at crossing or whatever else because neither of them do fucking cross the ball. So, but I think Odebert actually looks better than Tell when I've seen him play.
Can I just do 2 quick super chats, guys? There's magic mushrooms. This was earlier on when I said we're going to need social workers or drugs if we keep Ange at the club. Henry Thong TV says Spurs will smash Nottingham Forest, said a clown. Listen,
sorry, let me just jump in, please, Stel. I purposely just come on just to speak about Tell, then I'm going to bed. I'm going to be, no disrespect, but I don't believe anyone that says they see potential in Tell. What potential do you see? Him looking like he's going to do something on the ball, but it doesn't actually move, and then he just gets dispossessed. Is that the potential everyone's seeing? Or that he's tall? Is that the potential? He's a tall guy. And he runs at a couple of yards and tries to make it look like he's going to do something, then just gets dispossessed. I mean, what is this potential that we're talking about?
I get what you're saying.
He's. I've seen more potential in Nkudu, Clinton, NG, Solomon. He's that bad.
They were poor. You're talking about really poor players there, Maz. They're really poor.
What's Tell?
What is Tell?
What's Tell?
I've seen those players do more than Tell has done. They actually try to take on their man and maybe sometimes even beat their man every now and again, even though they were bad footballers. But Tell can't even beat his man. He can't shoot.
Is he better than Man or Solomon? Is he better than Man or Solomon?
Chance.
I don't think he is. Solomon's better than any other left-sided player we've got at the club at the moment.
And he can actually cross that ball. He can actually cross the ball.
Yeah.
Look, I am being harsh on Tell because I think he's one of the worst footballers I've ever seen at Spurs. You know, he's got this. You know, everyone thinks just because he's from Bayern Munich, right, and he wears different coloured boots, and he's got a frame on him that is going to be some wicked player. But he's rubbish, absolute rubbish. That last week when he scored the goal, he didn't even know the ball hit him, and he went in.
Yeah.
Right? He's awful.
Look at that chance I had tonight. The defender slipped, it falls to him, and he smashes it so off the mark. He didn't even. Do you know what? If it kind of went on target, you're like, oh. If he pulled out a really good save from the goal, he would say, oh, good try. Mate, I think he killed someone in the Paxton stand. That shot was so bent. Listen, if Richarlison done that,
Probably done that fan a favour.
if Richarlison took that shot, we'd all be cursing. We'd all be sitting saying that's why he's rubbish, pigeon this, pigeon that. Because it's Tell, give him a chance. Give him a chance.
But he's 19.
He's got lots of bad players around him. He's got lots of bad players around him for us to compare him against. Right? He's got Solanke, he's got Richarlison there, right? He's got Odebert there, right? Who I think are all average footballers at best. I'm being very kind.
At best, yeah, I agree.
And he's much worse than them. In fact, I'd rather see the kids getting a chance. Some of the kids that have come in during that European game, right? They showed much more than he did, right? I was all I was doing throughout the whole game. Every time I saw Tell do something, it was just awful. There's a couple of times when he got through and you're like, go on, do something, and he messes it up. In fact, I'd go as far as to say Werner's better than Tell, because at least Werner can go down the byline and smash it at someone's knees. Tell doesn't even hit anyone when he crosses it in.
At least Werner can beat a man.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Werner is probably our only player up front now who can actually beat a man. He's another one, yeah. That
Tell did a couple of times today.
If he had a decent pass or a cross, Werner would be a very good player. But we know he ain't got he hasn't got nothing at the end of it. But I would say he is about our only player now that will and can take and beat a man on a consistent thing. That is the one.
Do you know what we've become?
Can do.
Do you know what we've become? Let's be really honest. We are only ever dangerous when Porro puts in a good cross. We've become a team that are good in the air, right? And even then, right, Richarlison is better than Solanke. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but this is what we've become. We only look dangerous when Pedro Porro whips in a cross in the air. And
stick him on the right wing.
But
Exactly. Another Porro assist tonight, wasn't it?
I've been saying it for a fucking year now. It's frustrating. I see in Porro Gareth Bale. Yeah, what I mean by that is a lot lower standards. Yeah, but one who looks all right at the back, but then as soon as they put him up front, look 10 times more lethal. I think he's more like that. Go stick him up front. I think he would be good because he can cross that ball. He can pass the ball. Taking on his man ain't his best bit, but he can run and everything. And you will get more consistent crosses in that box if you get it on the right-hand side to Porro than anyone else.
Can I just quickly, before we move on, can I just say, I don't know if you're going to pick up on this later, isn't it funny that when James Maddison don't play, nobody nobody can thread a ball through the middle of the park because Kulu is, oh my God, painful. Oh my God, he can't run.
He had a poor game tonight, Kulu.
Sure,
He
he
had
had
a
a
poor
shocker,
game
didn't he?
tonight. Really
Yeah.
poor.
We didn't even have a
can't run.
midfield. Like,
He can't run still. Kulusevski cannot run.
No, his problem is when go look at the tests on the players and everything. He's one of the fastest at the club over a distance. His problem is he's not quick. He can't accelerate. He needs half the pitch before he gets any distance.
That's what I mean. He hasn't got good agility. He hasn't got good agility.
I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
Whenever he's running, it looks like, Dan, for me, it looks like he's in quicksand. Like defenders just knock him off the ball so easily.
Yeah, he's not a sprinter. He's not a sprinter.
We missed
But
Madison.
when he actually gets to top pace, he's actually rated quicker than Basuma. Yeah, but with him, it takes him 3/4 of the pitch to get to the pace.
when Madison doesn't play and drop deep, we just don't have a midfield. Like what happens is that Romero and Van der Ven have got the ball, right, and then literally every single one of our players is forming a line of 5 or 6 players against the opposition defense, and there's no one in the middle running around, and there's no passes. So what inevitably happens is we hit it down the wings, right, and Porro or Spence will get the ball, then they'll pass it to Tell, right, or they'll pass it to Odegaard, and then nothing happens. It just all breaks down, and it's just like this is like the worst football I've ever seen.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
So bad.
Sava, are you going to apologise to everyone about like complaining about Conte now, please? I want an apology.
I don't want him at the club. I don't want Ange. I want a coach. I want a coach. I need someone to coach this team.
Can you go and coach anyone? Please, just go.
Anyone can coach.
Come on, mate. Get your boots on. You need to go.
Have you seen Will Still absolutely destroyed Ange? Will Still destroyed him after the game.
Before the game as well, he absolutely took him to pieces along with Carragher, and even showed it on several different games. The same problem when we invert, and people have been saying to me all season, we don't use inverted wing backs. What the fuck are you watching? Seriously, what are some people seeing out there?
Porro's in the number 8 position for most of the game.
I know, but people still tell me that Ange don't use inverted wing.
They just say that to defend their narrative that Ange is good, and they're just clutching. It's honestly, it's copium. It really is now. It's ridiculous.
What's hilarious? I'm going to end on this. I want to go to bed, right? And right. But what is hilarious, right, is we beat Frankfurt, right? And Sava's right. Everyone comes on. Oh, he can go all the way. He can win it. He's learned. You know, and what does he do? Does what he always does. He reverts back to his shitty tactics with the inverted fullbacks that go into the park, and that 2-3-5 formation, whatever we play at the back. I don't even know what we play. But
we don't have a formation.
We don't have a formation. It's just randomness all over the pitch.
Chaos.
He's honestly the worst. We keep saying this, but he is the worst manager I've ever seen at Spurs, hands down.
No.
And if Levy had any sense, he would sack him now. Beg either Mason or Redknapp or Hoddle, anyone who's willing to come to Spurs and just manage us until the rest of the season now.
Hang on, Murray. Maz, I just want one bit of what you said, yeah? I want to up it a level, what you said. And I'm being God's honest truth here. I don't just think he's the worst manager I've seen at Spurs. I, honest to God, do think he is the worst manager I have ever seen in the Premier League.
Amen.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Just
William
McKenzie in the chat says fullbacks didn't invert today. Yes, they did. I saw them do it like
given the money Spurs have spent. Yeah, go on, Murray.
Yeah, to go follow on what Dan's saying, the reason why he's one of the worst in the Premier League, right? Normally, if a manager does that bad, right, they're playing the championship the next season. And you dig up the big 6 clubs, right? Normally, they don't have their manager last that long. Because he's been here for 18 months, he's going to have 2 full seasons. Literally, he is the worst Big Six club manager and worst Premier League manager, because normally that manager is either getting sacked or they get relegated to the championship.
The only reason we ain't getting relegated, Murray, is because the 3 teams below us, which 2 of them actually beat us, are just that poor. That is the only reason we are not getting relegated. We have a team of players out there that should be fighting for 7th place upwards, maybe 7th to 5th, yeah? And if it wasn't for how shocking Southampton, Liverpool and Ipswich have been, where 2 of them have actually beat us, 1 of them we give him their first win of the season, we'd be going down. He would have taken a top 6 club as such as we call ourselves down. Now, you give me any other team on there, yeah? Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, Palace, Everton, Wolves, West Ham. With him as manager, they're gone. Baked potato. See you later. The only way we have stayed out of this crap is because them bottom 3 are just that bad. Probably Southampton.
Dan, look at the last 5 games. Look at the last 5 games. Only Leicester City have done worse than us. Only Leicester have done worse than Spurs the last 5 games.
This is why I think he's the worst manager ever I have seen in the Premier League. I mean, when you've got a team like Southampton have got, what can you do? Their team shit, and we know it, yeah? And that it is what it is, and they're probably going to end up with a worse record than Derby, yeah? But Tottenham should not be in 16th, and I'll repeat it one more time. If it was not for those 3 clubs being so piss poor this season, and I think some people just don't see it, we would be going down.
We're going to be 17th next weekend because I think there's a high probability Liverpool win the league title against Spurs. I think it's pretty much, we haven't won there. We've won 3 times in 100 years. I don't think we're winning up at Anfield. So.
To be fair, our form isn't that bad. If we break it down, it's only 1 win in 7. That's quite good for Ange. 1 win in 7 Premier League games. It's good.
It's unbelievable. That's where where's that chart you showed the other day? I'm sure I've got it here. This is Ange's record.
Oh God, look at it. It's disgusting, isn't it?
We went from 6th to 3rd to 2nd. We stayed first for 10 games. And after those 10 games, it has been a constant decline. And you can see the decline. There's a couple of little spurts upwards, but overall, he's sent us further down. And we will end up the season in 17th. Most probably we will be in 17th by the end of the season.
Did you see? I sent you a link, Stel. I can't bring it up because I'm actually on my phone. I sent you a link to a guy who posted all of Ange's stats for the wrong reasons. Everything that he's broken, like goals conceded, defeats, going behind in games, everything. This man has absolutely destroyed Tottenham Hotspur for every laughable reason. And I'm at the stage now. I'm at the stage where we deserve these defeats. Not all of us, but I mean, as a fan base as a whole, the fact that, I mean, Lubo, you were at the game. How many people were singing Ange out?
There wasn't.
None.
Right. They weren't even singing Levy out.
Right.
Levy ain't the problem at the minute. That's just it. Levy, we know, is Levy right now for me is not the problem.
Every game he leaves him in charge, Dan. Every game Levy leaves Ange in charge, you're looking at a probable another defeat in the league. I said on your show, we could lose 23 league games, didn't I? So anything less is a bonus. And you laughed. You said, "Is this where we're at?" And I said, "Absolutely."
No. But you know what, though?
Every league game now between now and the end of the season. I don't think we will. But,
do you know? Would you like to know, Lubo, what the? This is bloody hilarious. Our defeat rate in the Premier League is now, if we round it up,
55%.
It's like 54.5 something. So 55% defeat rate, and fans are going, "Yes, it's not him. It's not his football."
You can't.
This
You
is
can't. You
mental.
can't justify it. You can't. Let me get David in. David, you often find a little shoot of positivity. You go a little bit Lubo on us. Are you still Lubo-ish, or you or are you done with this manager? Are you fed up?
Oh no, I'm fully Ange out now. I was screaming in the club. I went down and watched, and this sums up actually how bad we are. I watched it with an Arsenal fan, and he didn't even have the energy to sit there and take the piss out of us.
Yeah.
We're that bad. Like he kind of almost felt sorry for us.
The same thing happened to me last weekend. There were some Arsenal supporters, my best friend, and he feels pity for me. They don't even want to make fun of us anymore. They're like,
listen, he's kept his job because of a League Cup run and a Europa League run. That's the only reason this man has kept his job. And there's a bit of me that thinks there's going to be some twisted irony where that comment where he says, I always win something in my second season is going to come true. And that's going to create a massive divide in his fan base because we are starved of trophy success. Yeah. And I think we've tongue in cheek. I'm not going to speak for yourselves, but I would take a guess that all of you have said this at some point. I will take a bad league performance in a season if it meant we won a cup.
Yes.
And we could, in a sick way, be getting at this season. And that's the only bit of faith that I'm clinging on to. We are in a semi-final of the Europa League. That has got to be some crumb of positivity in what has otherwise been an absolute debacle of a season. It's that
sack
bad.
him and save him. Sack him and have a chance of winning it. Sack him now. Sack him in the morning. Sack him. You give that manager 10 days. Give that manager 10 days.
In isolation, Sav, there's a bit of me that agrees with you, but we've also seen Mourinho get sacked before the League Cup final, and all the fan base were up in arms about that. Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. We was up in arms when Mourinho went, yet now we're asking that. You know,
no, hang on.
I'm not disagreeing with the logic of it. All I'm saying is we have seen it before a cup final, and I would argue that he does at least deserve to see this season through now.
No, but hang on. But David, this is
he's
the
got us
problem.
to the semi-final.
No. Hang on, David. Hang on. This is the problem. It's this notion that he deserves it. Any manager that has lost 22 games of football, still with more games to go, does not deserve it. Hang on.
I agree. I'm thinking of what Levy's thinking.
Sure, but he has stumbled to a Europa League semi-final via a penalty, right? Because of a clumsy goalkeeper challenge, right? The difference between him and Jose Mourinho, right, is Jose Mourinho, one, wasn't in a bad run like this as Tottenham Hotspur that Ange was. Two, Jose Mourinho is probably the greatest one-off game final manager that has ever lived, right?
Ever. Yep. I agree.
Right?
Exactly. And Levy swapped in for Ryan Mason.
Right. Okay. Hang on. Right. Yes. So swapping Ange now when he's not in a final is nothing like letting Jose Mourinho go for me. It's nothing like it. I agree with Luba on this. Luba and I disagree on a lot. But yes, Ange is the big problem. But Daniel Levy has got to the stage where the gross negligence to not sack this manager and to have him overseeing defeat after defeat after defeat is mind-blowing.
I agree. It's absolutely shocking. But I think in Levy's mind, he's going, right, look at the stick I got for sacking Mourinho before a final. This man has got us into a semi-final Europa League. I've got to go the other way this time. That's what I'm just thinking in his little ball.
What you're basically saying, hang on a sec. I think I can translate this for Dave. I think I can translate this for him, yeah? Because if you really want to take that hate Levy hat off, which we all do, yeah? But take it off for a moment and just think, as Spurs supporters in general, I'm not saying our lot, but I'm saying, I'd say about 70%. Back your manager. Give him money. Don't sack him before the end of the season, even if he's having a bad time. Don't sack him at like a cup final or before a cup. Like you say, Saba, this is what a majority of Spurs fans actually asked Levy to do. And Levy has gone and done it. Now you've got
Levy-
people like us
Levy
saying
don't listen.
we want our Levy back, so he will actually just ruthlessly
But
sacrifice.
Levy don't listen. Let's be brutally honest here, right? Levy never listens. This
Oh, I
isn't
know
us going,
that.
oh, Levy's learned his lesson and Levy.
No, not
This,
at all. I'm not saying that. But
this,
this
no,
is
I know,
what a lot of people asked for.
I know you're not. But the problem with this whole, oh, we can't sack him before a semi-final. He should have been sacked a year ago, let alone before a semi-final. This guy is so bad. But look, guys, I need to jump. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, talking with you fine gentlemen about the well-established, well-run, well-drilled football team that is Tottenham Hotspur. And I'll end on this. And please fuck off.
Nice and polite. Thank you very much, Sava. Got a super chat here from edX who says the most expensive ticket, the most gullible and foolish fans, Tottenham Hotspur FC. Lubo, correct me if I'm wrong. Have we won in the Premier League only 5 games at home this season?
6, I think, isn't it?
What
5
games
or
we've
6?
won at home?
Isn't it
Well,
6?
So I've calculated that.
Hang on, I'll look. Let's have a look.
Well,
at the program.
I've calculated
Program here.
Because we're clutching.
Everton, Brentford is 2.
Yeah.
West Ham 3. Villa 4.
Man United?
Man United 5. Southampton 6.
Right. So this is what I've calculated. If you've purchased this is linking back to edX's super chat. If you've purchased the cheapest season ticket in the stadium, you've effectively paid £200 per game to watch us win.
No, I think it's about 150 still. I think the cheapest one is about 900.
You get the idea, Lubo. 150, 170. It's a lot of money. If you've purchased one of the more expensive seats, the £2,500 or £3,000, you've paid between 400 to 600 quid per game to watch Spurs win. How in any world is that okay for any fan? And yet they sit there, they don't sing Ange out, they don't sing Levia. Lubo, how many empty seats were there? Because we were watching on TV and it looked like there was a few empty seats, and then after half time, it looked like there was a lot more empty seats if people went home. Is that true, or was it quite packed in there?
I was listening to Talk Sport on the way home, and one guy phoned in and said he left on the 6th minute.
You know
6th
what?
minute. Seriously, 6th minute.
The way that
1 minute, Dan, 1 second. Luba, how many empty seats were there though?
There were quite a few, although funny enough, my son saw it. It must on Twitter, and it must have come from Ali Gold, because he's normally the person that puts up the crowds. And Ali Gold put up 59,000, I think.
Yeah,
he was saying
that's what he put up.
Right.
Do they include the tickets that have already been paid for, where people
Yes,
haven't
they do.
turned up?
Attendance is that's the one thing with attendance, because this when Arsenal fans were boycotting games when they wanted Wenger out and there was a half empty stadium, they were still posting 59,000, 60,000.
We looked at it tonight still, and we both thought there was around 55,000.
Yeah.
So there was about 7,000 empty seats.
Yeah, 55 in attendance, but 59,000 paying customers.
Yeah,
something like that.
This shows the other thing, how, and it's a word that I've basically picked up of you still, that because you use it so much, it does actually make sense. This fan base as a whole at Spurs, and I use your word here, is fucking delusional, to the point where they are in a stadium cheering for their manager because we are losing 5-1. The only way this can be possible is if someone's dropped a few E's and gone in there and he's just loving the life as such, and there's nothing but life and good vibes about you. How the hell can a majority of fans go to games like this, be this far in the season where we are only not getting relegated because the teams are that shit, and still be singing Ange in, or not even putting an attempt to singing Ange out?
No,
Seriously,
they're not singing Ange. They're not singing his name anymore. They haven't done for some time now.
No, I'm saying either way, but they were still singing Anjin when we were getting busted 5-1 for God's sake.
That was 4 months
Okay.
ago. I think the
Yeah.
mood has changed a bit since then. But why people aren't singing Ange out? I just think it's apathy now. I honestly do. I think the whole thing is apathy. There's no real atmosphere. The fans didn't really get behind the team. You know, they do at the start, and the guy with the trumpet plays, and you know, they all get behind and they sing at the start. And you know,
Lubo, the atmosphere's been crap all season, man. It's been crap all season in that stadium. The atmosphere, it's rubbish.
I feel sorry for those. I feel sorry for those fans because they've paid that amount of money. So what do you want them to do? Because you commit to paying for the whole amount of money before a ball is kicked. You can't.
You sell your tickets. You sell your tickets on exchange. That's what I do.
Fair enough, but still, you know, a lot of people there they still want to go and support their club, even though it's going really badly, right? They are football fans. They're Tottenham fans, and I feel a bit sorry for them. They're getting served up rubbish every week.
But they turn up thinking we're going to win, David. They turn up thinking we're going to win. It's mental.
Well, no, because Lubo's just saying the apathy there. That's why there's a lot of people there going to watch because they've paid out their money to go and watch, but they're not really getting behind a team because they know there's no real point to it because they're not getting anything back from that team. I can't speak for him. I just feel a bit sorry for him because obviously we are going back to the Super Chat, we are the most expensive tickets in there. And once you've committed to paying, a lot of people would have paid in advance. Yeah, you can sell it match by match. But I saw people trying to get rid of their tickets for free today, and they still weren't going.
David, do you know who I feel sorry for? Do you know who I genuinely feel sorry for? The 2,000 fans that go to the protests who fight for change. The 2,000 fans that have had enough and they're trying to fight back. The 2,000 fans that say this cannot continue anymore. We've got to do something about it. I feel sorry for them, because they're fed up of it and they're trying to do something about it. The rest toe the line, unfortunately. I know this is a touchy subject, but I've said this for 2-3 years, and I've taken all the hits in the world for it, and I stick by what I say. Our fans are a problem. Not all, but our fans are a problem.
A majority.
If we don't put up a fight, in the eyes of the board, in the eyes of Levy, he looks around. He's like, we're losing games. They all turn up. They're going to buy beer. They're going to buy pies. They're going to buy merch. Fuck it. Don't need to change nothing. And this is the problem we've got at the moment as a club. And you know what? I do sympathise with what you're saying, because there's a lot of fans, and some of them are my friends who are in their 50s and 60s. It's a big thing for them to go to the Spurs because it gets them out the house. They meet up with their boys. They catch up on the good old times. And if it wasn't for Spurs, they probably wouldn't meet up with a lot of their mates. And I get it. I do get it. Spurs is more than just supporting a team. It's bonding, isn't it? Even families that go with their kids. Let's get the kids out the house. Let's do something, because the kids don't know. The kids ain't got a clue. They just lots of noise, fireworks, trumpet. Oh, this is amazing. I love it. I get it. I do get it. But
no, I think it's more like
but there's a lot of fans in there that are like me that should be kicking off.
Still, going to Spurs now is more like going to that funeral with your friend or whatever, and then having the piss up afterwards, talking about the good old days. That is what Spurs is like now for me.
Yeah.
Dan, I got another one.
Let me address this.
Alex is Murray. Let Alex explain his Alex's analogy. I think is the best one of the lot. Actually, I'll let Alex say it.
Yeah, big up everybody on the panel.
You're
David, Ian, Dan, Maury. Still big up everybody in the chat. Honestly, today I just sat back, and when I watch our games nowadays, I start dreaming. I start daydreaming basically. And the most similar thing I could think of is watching Spurs is like high school detention. That's what it is for me now. When I was in high school, the tension I had, I just yawned. You know, I didn't really know what to look at. I just wanted it to end. You know. And these players, they've just given up. This thing I can't stand about them is that they're bullshitters. They're absolute bullshitters. They come out in this interview saying, yeah, we got the Europa League, it's important, but we can't forget about the Premier League games. We still have 7 Premier League games to go. Blah blah. All these things they said. Every one of our players has said it. Every time they've been asked about it, but they couldn't give a shit. They're not bothered. Could see it. Richarlison, when he missed that first header, just dinks into the post like a dumbass right after, and Sars helping him get up when they're both down on the floor, and they're just looking at each other laughing. We're down 2-0 for us. We can see it 3 goals, one of the no team that genuinely cares. You won't see that. You won't see your 2 players laughing after missing a clear-cut chance. You just won't. Then Matters and Brennan just laughing on the bench, joking around like these players have checked out from the league. No matter what they say, they've checked out from the league, and
they ain't with the manager.
They ain't with the manager. And
no, they are not.
I'm just. I don't even know. You don't feel nothing. I still said it before. You're numb, and that's it, really.
Let me address this. So it can't stay too long. So I'm seeing
Murray, read the comment out, right? I'll read it out and then jump on it. So Romero's come out and said, we're in the Europa League semi-finals. I want to finish the season on a high note. After that, we'll see. A league I'd like to play in would be Spain, so I can compete in all the major league.
So let me address this. So some of you know I took a trip for spring break to Argentina and Chile. I was there basically close to 2 weeks. And so at my time in Argentina, I enjoyed Boca Juniors, went to a game at the famous La Bernabéu. And one of the days I went to a hot springs out in Mendoza. I apparently got a chance to meet some people there. And one of the guys I got to speak to, because we were just talking about Argentina football, and I mentioned I was a Spurs fan. And he was like, "Oh, you're a Spurs fan? Okay. Christian Romero." I said, yeah, Christian Romero. And I was like, yeah, I mean, everybody loves Kuti. To make a long story short, the guy he works for TYC Sports. He's one of the producers. TYC Sports is what we call Sky or ESPN of Argentina. If you want to get every juicy tidbit or any news, TYC Sports will get it first. Argentinians are more that play in Europe. They're more inclined to tell them. And Romero has talked to TYC first in regards to his injuries in the past. Not like in Conte, like he's always gone to TYC. And so in the conversation, it was mentioned that Romero will be leaving. The talk within the national team, within players, that Romero will be leaving Argentina. A lot of people there feels that he's better than Spurs. So for me, I was just like, oh, okay. I was telling them that, Romero's had a up and down season. You're mentioning, consistency.
Up and down.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna tell the Argentinian, but the Argentinians what I think. And like I said, for me, as much as I like Romero, but I got to be critical of him. When
you're just being realistic, mate. You're being realistic now.
And there are times I've had to be like, oh, come on, Romero, I can't. No, there's not a free pass here. And so from that conversation, and you're going to see more little comments like this. He has his heart set out for him. He has some admirers. One of the admirers is Simeone. And so that's why you've been hearing me more saying, yeah, I wouldn't be sad to see him go. Go to Atletico Madrid. He needs to go. I think it's a divorce that needs to happen. We shouldn't even think about replacement because we don't even do that at Spurs. he needs to go. That's just plain and simple. He needs to go.
Murray, for me, the only reason a half decent team would go for Romero now after this season he has had, I mean, up and down, that's a bit of an understatement. I mean, let's just be straight here, yeah? He has had a shit season, bar maybe 3 games. Yeah, there's no up and down about it, yeah? And yeah, we can say it about all the other players, but we're talking about Romero right now, again, who is meant to be our world class. The only reason he can go to Atletico Madrid or somewhere like that is, one, he's been with a team who won the World Cup when their defending wasn't great in the World Cup either. And the only other thing he's got to cover his arse is, well, what do you expect me to do with that dickhead as my manager? Honestly, I think he has been that bad this year.
Yeah.
Bar Son, he has been our worst player in that team. And what I mean by worst player is...
you expect more from them.
Yeah, basically. That's what I'm trying to say, yeah?
Yeah.
They have been the two most disappointing players because you expect so much better. When you're ranked up here, that is how you get your ranks on a game. Whereas when a player is only that good, he'll make the mistakes, he'll get to that, but you'll say it's Ben Davis in it, so like shit happens.
Yeah.
But when I say it again, I think he is one of, if not the most overrated player that this club has had. I do think people look up to this fella too good, and I really don't think he's that great. But if any team would match him as such, I do think Atletico Madrid would be his sort of team.
Yeah.
You know,
And just for people to chat, I was surrounded in a hot spring around Argentinians. I'm not going to use the S word. I'm going to say, yeah, he's having an up and down season. I'm going to be polite.
I thought you were going to say you're surrounded by chicks in bikinis at spring break.
And I check women, but I will send the pictures.
Mario with a cigar in his mouth, a furry hat, loads of girls in a hot tub.
Romero's. Spurs have played 52 games this season. Romero's played in 22 out of the 52.
Yeah, so he's already missed an entire season. Premier League football.
And how do we actually look worse in defence? Do we actually look worse in defence with Romero and Van der Ven? Or worse in defence when we put 2 others there? I mean,
did you know, Dan? Did you know, Dan?
We were better with Royale in the bloody middle.
Right, can I? This is a fact, okay? This is a fact. This is Premier League, by the way. No, it's all competition. Sorry. When Porro, Van der Ven, Romero, Vicario, and Udogie all start and they play, our win rate is the best, bar none. And do you know what? That was the back 5 against Frankfurt.
When you say best, do you mean just in Ange's tenure?
Yeah, under Ange. Sorry, under Ange. Yeah. That is the because Udogie only came when Ange joined, didn't he? Because Conte, we bought him, but he was still on loan to Udinese. Yeah. Under Ange, those back 5, we've had the highest percentage of wins under Ange. But we can never keep. They're not all fit. Go on, David. Go on.
No, I think that's what a lot of our delusional fans cling on to is when they are all playing, we do look a little bit better and we've got more results. But I don't know if you are going to this. So if you are going to this a bit later, I'll shut up and let you carry on about Romero because I think I've said my piece about that fucking maggot. But Vicario, he doesn't come out.
You're not a fan. You're not a fan of Romero, David?
Nah.
Why is that?
I'm not a fan because he picks and chooses when he wants to put the effort in. Like that game against Frankfurt, because he knows he can get the glory. That game's going around the world in terms of, the TV stuff. He's putting himself on the shelf to be sold. So that's why he's putting it in. Other games, he can't be bothered. He'll go around and just go chop people for the fun of it. And plus, 22 games out of 52, I think Lubo just said. I think that's a stat in itself that he needs selling. But I was just going to ask Vicario, we're going to get onto him because as a former goalkeeper, I back them up. But I thought he was absolutely shocking tonight and was at fault for both goals. So if we get into it later, then I'll wait. But
let's go. Listen, let's go on to it. We've spoken about and
Could I say something?
Romero.
Could I say
So yeah, of course you can, Alex.
Just quickly, because I need to end what I said about the fucking detention that I get flashbacks to watching last night. I think it's all reflected, like everything's reflected through the performance. This is just my experience with football, is that when I was younger and when I kept on playing into my teenage years, even for defenders and even like the most fun thing in football you can do as a team is to attack, like to score goals and to push forward as a unit. That's the most you get the most exhilaration out of that. And our players, they did that today, even though there was no end product to it. Our players did that today. But what's reflected throughout the performance to when our players are unmotivated in meaningless games, in which we can call all these playing games, not for us fans, but like in the bigger picture, they're meaningless. Let's say just for the sake of my point, it's reflected throughout our defensive performances, because our defensive performances in the Premier League games, that's what's lacking. It's the defense that they won't throw their bodies on the line like they did versus Frankfurt. Frankfurt was a game that actually meant something, and you could see the players do the difficult part of football. The difficult part of football is defending. I don't think it's more difficult than attacking. It's less fun if you want to call it in simplistic terms. And you don't see that in games that mean less. Then we see our defense becoming so much worse. So much worse. The players won't throw their bodies on the line. They won't put in that extra tackle. They won't do that extra dirty work of. It's so obvious to me now. I just our shittier performances in the league. It's when there's no motivation to defend. There's motivation.
You're spot on, Alex. You weren't on the stream earlier, but do you remember, just to throw it back to you, do you remember in the second half when we had a corner, Kulusevski got the front post header, and their reserve team player, Toffolo, cleared it off the line? The dedication to clear that off the line, that explains your point perfectly, because our players didn't do that in the first 15 minutes when we let two crosses in.
Yeah, you're bang on. You might have seen something like that in a huge cup game or anything.
Similar, but you know what as well though, Forest are fighting. They're fighting for Champions League.
Yeah, and we talked about
motivation. What's our motivation tonight for them players? What is your motivation? You're going to get paid when that happens.
Yeah, professional pride.
You don't care about that.
I know. That's why I hate them.
That's the thing I said earlier too. You can see them laughing. You can see them.
But you can say, what have they actually been fighting for all bloody season? We know.
Well, at one point we were fighting to get into Europe, weren't we? At one point in the league, and then it
goes
was
with what they said on Vicario. I told everybody that when we got him,
let's go on.
A lot of people went off the edge with it. That he is a good goalkeeper, and last season he's a good shot stopper. But then he got sussed out. Give him a little bit of hassle on his line or whatever, on a corner, on a free kick, and he'd get rattled. And he does, because none of the other defenders helped him out. Even Romero just looks at it when Ben White kept touching him up, for God's sake. And then the manager ain't said nothing to it. But then it got to a point where they started. But a shot stopping, I do still think he is one of the top 4 in the league. But
that's why I wanted to bring it up, Dan, because that first shot he should have saved. It's bounced over him. That's why I'm getting worried.
I know. We both played in goal, innit, Dave? You remember you used to be a keeper, so did I, and then they had to put me, a defender, but I gave away too many penalties, and then they put me as
normally got a red card, Dan, to be fair.
I know, but DM, I love the job of that. But he is very concerning that I honestly don't. I think he might have improved a little bit when it comes. He's got the loudest mouth on the bloody pitch, and you can see it. But as soon as it comes into the box, he shuts the fuck up. As soon as it comes to a corner or a free kick, there's no. You don't see him saying nothing.
You know on
the other end of the pitch, he's screaming at him non-stop, and you're just thinking, mate, what are you doing? When it comes to a complete goalkeeper, no. He is not a good complete goalkeeper, and I will say Raya is a better goalkeeper overall all day long, yeah? But a shot stopper, he's one of the best in the Premier League. But to be an overall player, you need to have more than just be a shot stopper. But now he's even got to the point that when he saves it, he doesn't even push it out sideways. He pushes it right in the middle to the person coming at him.
Yeah.
I think he's past month, bar one or basically every game he nearly has to make a world-class save or a very, very good save. But that don't make up for the 10 or 12 screw-ups or ones where you barely got it and that. I think he's in the last month, 2 months, since he's come back from injury, he's gone downhill in a big way.
He looks nervous and shaky, and I agree with you, Dan. His shot stopping used to be brilliant. It's now starting to get a bit of an issue because he's making mistakes with that. He still makes a world-class save in a game.
I totally disagree with you. Really,
the goal today?
I think he's been coming out more since he came back from injury.
Sorry.
I didn't say anything about coming out.
That could be true, Lubo. He could be getting back. That my point was he's starting to look shaky on his shot stopping, which never used to be in.
Well,
yeah. The point I'm making is not that he doesn't come out; it's that he doesn't command his box. And when he does come out, he looks absolutely shaky as anything in the air. I'd say 7 times out of 10 he punches it when he should at least bloody kick it. I agree
on that point.
He punched there though tonight for Wood's goal.
I mean, for the 2 goals today, the first goal, I haven't seen any playbacks of that. From where we were, you could see. Was it Spence? Was it Spence?
It came off a Bentancur's arse.
It came off 2. There were 2 deflections, weren't there? I was told.
Yeah, the one in front of Vicario was off of Bentancur's arse, and it bounced over Vicario, but he still got his hand to it. He still got his hands up to it, but he had a weak hand.
I think the second one, Porro's let the guy cross. Woods peeled off Romero. Van de Ven hasn't sniffed the danger, and Woods in between the 2 centre-backs, 6 yards out, and Vicario's not quick enough to get out and take it off his head. So for me, they're all 4 of them are culpable. And
I'll agree with that.
You agree? I have seen that. I have seen that playback. I've seen it a couple of times. They're all to blame.
Lubo. Right, I'm going to do some match analysis tomorrow. Just for the record, Iggy and I had a 1.5 hour back and forth on a Monday night show we did back in November, I think it was, where I was saying to Iggy, this goalie, brilliant shot stopper. That's it. And then Iggy was like defending, and we just had this massive argument on the show over it. I agree with what you got to say about Vicario. Great shot stopper, but commanding his box not too great. No. Tonight, the first goal, I don't blame Vicario personally because the ball's come near post. It's a crap corner, right? It's crap, and Porro heads it to the edge of our box. Either send it back where it came from because you're facing that way, or send it away.
Yeah,
he slices it to the edge of the box. Awful defending. Why is their midfielder free on the edge of the box against Wolves? There are 2 players free on the edge of the box, and they scored from it. Same thing. So that's the second problem. And when the shot came in, it came with a bit of curve and a bit of pace. It's deflected. The ball bounced just in front of Vicario, so he's reading the flight of the ball. And then it changed direction last second. He just wasn't quick enough to adjust. I don't blame Vicario. Otherwise, he had that saved. The second goal, however, what is he doing? He's come flying out 2-fisted. He's missed the player. He's missed the ball. He's completely misjudged it. He got caught in no man's land. 2 fists go flying past everyone in thin air. All Woods had to do was get it on target, and that's what he did. He outjumped Van de Ven. That can happen. They're 2 tall players. One of them's going to win the header. All right. Woods outdid Van de Ven.
Van de Ven is shit in the air. Absolute dog shit in the air.
Then we need to look at Van de Ven, not Vicario. But Woods beat Van de Ven. There was no one in the net because he's gone flying past everyone. When he comes off his line and there's a ball in the air, Vicario's dodgy as. And by the way, they scored a 3rd goal as well, but it was offside. And it just seems to me, whenever a team sends one ball over the top, we look like we're going to capitulate, or any kind of balls that are whipped into our box, we don't know what we're doing. and this has been the case for 2 years now. I put it a bit on Vicario. I put it a bit on Vicario because he's got to learn that. He's got to demand to learn how to be better at what he does. But at the same time, the way the team's set up, we create all our problems. Defensively, we create all our problems. It's just a manifestation. It's layers and layers upon error. Like the Wolves goal. The Wolves goal last week. Why is Pape Sarr giving a free kick away in the first minute on the edge of our box? What are you doing? Then the ball comes in. Vicario punches it out. Why are you punching it out to the edge of the box? Why are there 2 players free in the edge of the box? The shot comes in. Why is Ben Davies in the way of Vicario? You look at it and you think, this team can't defend. We just can't defend as a team. We're poorly coached. And Vicario is suspect. Vicario is very suspect coming off his line. Very suspect.
But guys, Maury, before you start, do you not think that tonight is symptomatic of life underage?
Yes.
We're wide open first 15 minutes. We're 2 goals down. For the rest of the match, I thought we did okay. I don't think we played badly. I thought we were more direct. I thought we had plenty of chances second half. Last 15 minutes, there was no shortage of chances. Keeper's made 2 very good saves. There's been 1 brilliant clearance off the line, and we scored. So we created. But the problem is, because there's no system, because we're wide open, we're 2 goals down. So look at the disadvantage you're starting at. We've played worse this season than we did tonight. We had 22 shots to their 4.
Yeah, and I think another reason too, and what I noticed is, and that's what I said, I think Forest, they took out some players, they pumped the brakes. The losses that we've had this season, right? The compliment that I gave about Thursday was that we fought, but also the physicality of this team. The first half, I felt like we were getting bossed physically by Forrest, Murillo, what's his name? The other center back, Anderson. Even though he was getting whacked, he was giving it. And I guess Frankfurt, you saw the opposite. Maybe because they're not as physical or rough, and really got to do more research on Bodo Glimt and what's their frame of build up of their team. But a lot of the losses too, clearly we get out physical, especially in the midfield, and they boss us around. And this first half, I'm just like, man, we're playing against men and we're boys. Like, Ange has made this team so soft, and it's just unbelievable. And so, I don't, like I said, I don't know too much of Bodo Glimt, other than I know that they're dangerous. But if they're going to be like Forest and Chelsea and all these other teams that physically outworked us, we are going to be in big trouble because
Maury,
we are weak.
Dan, I just need to say something about physicality. It goes straight back to Stel. Could you bring up a comment? Could you bring up? It's by Ella at 108 108. It's like 10 minutes ago, exactly 10 minutes ago.
Okay, that's 12-8 for me because you're 1 hour ahead.
12-8, yeah. Sorry, exactly 12-8. I think it's a long one. This. I mean, when we have a manager that has openly come out and said he's backtracked on it now because he's been under so much more pressure recently. But when he said, and when he gave us all of these signs that defense for him isn't priority and when it never will be, all those things, this is spot on. The teams that pop up straight in my head when I think of this is Newcastle and Forest this season. It's Forest and Newcastle this season, at least. Arsenal they've been good in that team for long, but when it comes to actually dying for each other on the pitch, when it comes to that team of 11 players in different positions, but when they work as a unit in defense, and when it's like you have 10 defenders on the pitch, Newcastle and Forest, they're one of the amount of defensive performances I've seen from them where I go, wow, shit, I've never seen this from Spurs. I've never seen this from us under Ange. And even when I've seen it, it's not been consistent. It hasn't been maximized to as much as it could have. It's all of those things. And as she brought up in her comment, when you have a coach that neglects all of these things, you won't be coached as a unit, and mistakes will come from that. Of course, mistakes will come from that, and of course, we expect the mistakes to stop one day, but they won't as long as we're not coached. It's so simple and it's so cliche because we've said it so many times regarding this
Alex,
manager.
I've been staying for over 1 year.
Yeah,
I
you
watch
have.
us play. We are not being coached how to defend
Yeah.
as individuals or as a
That's
collective team. When outnumbered from set pieces, I've been saying it for so freaking long. It's actually boring saying it.
Yeah, that's the
If,
word
if fans can't see it yet, then they'll never see it. They'll never see it.
Yeah. And going back to the opposite of that, attacking, like actually the opposite of defending, attacking, you don't need as much coaching. You don't need as much drilling. You don't. You can have basic intuition as an attacker, as a creative forward, and you can link up.
Alex, I disagree with you on this, by the way. I think the hardest thing in football is to put the ball in the back of the net, which is why strikers are often the most expensive players on a team. Attacking, yes. Putting the ball in the back of the net is one of the hardest things in a game of football because you've got 11 players trying to stop you from doing it.
Yeah, I'm not saying defending is more hard.
According to our opposition, it's quite easy.
I'm not saying it's more hard to defend. Like,
yeah, but the majority of our goals have come in 35% of the games. 65% of the games we played this season, we haven't been good in front of goal. What we do is when we score 5 or 4. But when we don't score, it's 1 or 0. We're very, very lopsided with the way we score goals. We're not balanced in terms of our goals aren't spread out across the season. They're 4 against Villa, 3 against Man United, or 5 against West Ham, 6 against Southampton. They're big results. Then everything else is 1 goal, 2 goals, 0, 1, 0. Look, Frankfurt, we scored 1 goal at home, 1 away. We're a very low scoring team when you balance it out. But if you just look at the one metric, then it looks like we score a lot. But most of our goals come in literally a third of all games.
What you're saying is what I've always said about Son. He is not a consistent scorer, and he never has been for me. He scores in patches where he'll score 2, 2, 3, 2, and then all of a sudden he would never score for 6 games. And then he'll score 3, 3, 1, and then he don't score for like 5, 6, 7 games. He's a patchy goal scorer. He always was. And if anyone don't believe me on that, just go check it up. But when it comes to the end of the season as such, or halfway through it, and that player, as I say, got 15 goals. Like, look at Brendan Johnson. To me, the way Son used to score goals on the amount he scores is literally what Brendan Johnson done this year. No, he don't come and tap it in. I'm not saying that. He scores good goals.
Exactly, yeah.
But Brendan Johnson just gets his odd goal here, has scored basically in patches. And then you see nothing of him. Yeah, Son, much better player. You used to see him in the game and that. But he always scored in patches for me. But at the end, when it looks like you got 15, 16 goals, it looks like you've had an excellent season because you got 15, 16 goals. But when you put it out into the ratio bit and everything, for me, he's one of the ones that's always been a patchy player when it comes to goal scoring. And it's exactly like what you say today. We are 16th and still plus, what is it, plus 8 now or 7?
I think it's the first time. I think it's the first time in Premier League history, or the highest. It's the highest goal difference for a 16th place team in Premier League history.
But about a month ago,
plus
not even
10,
that, maybe
Dan.
2 weeks ago,
plus 10.
We plus 10. We still got a better goal ratio than Aston Villa and the other team above them. It's only the teams in the top 5. If I'm right here, it might be 1 or 2.
Oh,
it's the ones that are fighting for the Champions League.
Yeah.
No one else has got a better goal
Dan-
ratio.
Dan-
And that is because we score 4-4, nothing, 5-5, nothing. Patchy is what we do.
If you look at the games, right, that we've lost this season,
We're seventh.
but we're seventh. If you look at the
We're
we've
seventh.
lost this season, okay. If you look at the games we've lost this season, in all of those games, we've created something enough to get more than the goals we've scored, which could end up meaning we win or we draw. The difference is, if you look at today, that chance that fell to Tell in the first half and he smashed it wide. that ball on the goal line where Richarlison and Sarr fucked it up. The chance in front of goal in the second half that Richarlison missed as well. If you look at all of those chances, I guarantee you Harry Kane puts one or two of those in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And there's the difference. We don't have that. Berbatov scores one of those. Defoe scores one of those. Sheringham scores one of those. Son in his prime scores one of those. The issue we've got, we don't have anyone of high quality in the front line. Yeah. Nobody at this club, nobody, and I include Son now because he's dropped off. Not one player is worthy of any Spurs player from the previous 140 years of this club history. None of them. And there's your issue. Tonight, one half decent striker on the pitch, we get at least a draw. But we don't have these players. We don't have them. And I'm sorry, Ange accepted these players. So you've got to make it work now. You know?
Still, I said it on the stream. Wood hadn't scored a Premier League goal in, I think it was 6 matches. He hadn't scored a goal in 6 Premier League matches until today. It's always, but you know what the thing is for me? It's not.
Solanke came on. What did he do? What did Solanke do when he came on?
He got bullied off the ball, and he worked.
What did Solanke do when he came on?
Still,
Johnson came on. What did he do?
In the games that we've scored 0 and 1, in 16 games we've scored 9 goals, and in the other 17 games we've scored 52.
Okay, so it's 50-50 then. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
Is that all games or is that just the league?
League. I'm only talking league.
So in half of our games we score lots of goals. The other half we don't score. We don't do nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We are patchy goal scorers, and that's exactly how I used to look on Son.
What we're doing, Brian,
I'm brilliant for us, but again, at the
we're
end of the season,
we're winning by big margins.
15 goals in looks good. But when you score them in 3s, 2s, 3s, and then don't do nothing for 6 games scoring goals, that don't get noticed at the end of the season because you've got 15 or 20 goals. And that's basically exactly what we've done this year. And poor Son, he's now at a state where, to me, it makes no difference whether he's in the bloody team or not.
When you're in a game that's going to be a 0-0, a 1-1, a 1-0, when you're in those kind of games, that's when class wins you games. That's when quality unlocks a door and wins you the game. And we had that with Kane and Son for a good 8-9 years, especially with Kane. We had that. And before that, we had it with Berbatov and Defoe. And before that, it was Lineker and Sheringham and whoever. We don't have it anymore, guys. We don't have that killer. What have we got, really?
Even our backup squad players were Lucas Moura, Eric Lamela. They would still chip in at times as well.
In those 16 games where we've scored 0 or 1, we've only won 1 game, and that was Man United 1-0.
For me, what you just said, Dave, I agree.
Awful.
For me, Lucas Moura, he walks straight into his team. Literally, piece of piss.
So does Lamela. Lamela.
Yeah, but Lamela was, as far as I'm concerned, Lamela was absolute class. It's just he just when I say weak kneecaps, that's an understatement. He was injured like 80% of the time. But when he did play, I think he was a good.
I don't know about class, Dan. That's a stretch and a half, mate. Class.
He had skill. All right, he had skill. He was a player. He had skill.
Because he scored a Rabona.
No, not just that.
You
I
remember
used the wrong
this?
phrase. I used the wrong
He was
phrase.
lovable. He was
good-
extremely
he was a
lovable.
good
He was
player.
extremely
He was
lovable,
good
yeah.
on the ball. He can have a shot. And I still think he's better than anything we got up front as well now.
Dan,
Lucas Moura, Lucas Moura would walk in that team.
Moore is a better finisher than Johnson, Odebert, Tell, Solanke, and Richarlison. He's a better finisher.
Dan, remember when
Yeah.
people taking?
Yeah,
I mean, and rightly so. Steven Bergwijn. I would take Steven Bergwijn
Yes,
in a heartbeat
would.
over Bell, Johnson, and the Odeberg.
Solanke, Richarlison.
I've got to tell you something, guys. You know, it's funny because it's poor this season. You know, let's not look too at older players with rose-tinted glasses. Moura underachieved at Spurs. He had a fantastic. Everyone will remember him for Amsterdam. He got a good hat trick against Huddersfield. Scored a lovely goal where he walked through the whole team in his last game at Leeds. Moura did very little for a lot of the time.
Scored a hat trick at Old Trafford, didn't he? A couple of goals at Old Trafford. Won us the game up there.
When you look at the amount of games he played and how many he actually turned up in, it wasn't that many. Bergwijn, another one who underachieved. Everyone remembers the Leicester game. And I remember a fantastic goal he scored against Man United
Liverpool
during the COVID year. Against Villa in the COVID season at home. But Bergwijn underachieved. Lamela unfortunately had a big hip problem, didn't he? That kept him out for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was made of glass, and unfortunately, we didn't really see enough of Lamela because he was always injured.
Well, I saw him where he played before Spurs as well, and the fellow had skill, no two ways about it.
Oh, yeah, very skillful.
And I would say he's got more skill than any player we have on that bloody pitch now.
We never made excuses.
My point was really the fact that they were out competition for the first team places. They never were considered first team. Both Moura and Lamela were never considered first team 11 players based on the squad we had. But they were the competition, and that's how good our competition was in that squad. Now there's an argument they'd be first choice. That's how bad the squad is now in the attacking positions. That's kind of the point.
We never made excuses. We never made excuses for those players. Today, it's you got Tell and Odebert. They're young.
Our recruiting
you got Richie. He's a pigeon. You got Solanke. Oh, he cost 65 million. All these things that we justify are Son. Oh, he's getting old. All these. It's just excuses for every single one.
Alex, you're right there, mate. There's that very thin line between reasons and excuses. It's a very thin line. You can give reason that Son has got worse
most of our fans
because of his age, and you can give a reason to it. But then you can almost make it sounds like an excuse when people use Son for his age, because I'm sorry, over a matter of 6 months, of which he basically did, you do not drop from that to that. I think it also shows how much Harry Kane actually carried us and certain other players on that pitch.
Yeah. And Son has a terrible habit of not letting anyone around him aware of the fact that he's injured. The rumor now is that he's been suffering with a foot kind of injury for like 6 weeks or something. I don't know what the report was, but the amount of times he's played through injury, it's I don't get it. If you feel like you aren't on your A game, you don't come out in the media saying, yeah, I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been, and I don't get all of these things. I don't get, especially with Son and all of our forwards. Really, I think the thing they lack is I think they just lack creativity now, because our way of attacking, it's so one dimensional. I mean, I've never seen it. I've never seen it this one dimensional before.
Can I say to people in the chat?
We had more ways of attacking.
I agree. Alex.
Cross it in play through the middle of today is just the most simple way of attacking, and I don't think it benefits any attacker to be in this team.
Alex, I just want to say to people in the chat, defending Tell is ridiculous. It's absolutely bonkers, okay? I don't want to hear that he's young. I don't want to hear how old he is. And I'll tell you why. He is not here on a long-term contract. He was signed until the end of the season. The season ends end of May. We signed him end of January, February, March, April, May. He's here for 4 months. He's got 4 months to prove himself. He's used up 2.5 months. He's done nothing. He scored a ball that came to him they didn't know about that went into the goal and a penalty. That's it. He doesn't create. He doesn't have any assists, right? He's not here as a kid to develop and be good. And in 4 years' time, we can say, yes, he's developed. He's here on a short-term contract that expires end of the season.
Yeah.
End of. So it's not like Bergvall. It's not like Gray, who we've signed long-term, who we can say, do you know what? Give Gray a couple of years. Give Bergvall a couple of years. Give Phillips a couple of years. Give these players. That's different because we signed them at 17, 16 through the academy, 18, some of them. We're going to give them time on a long-term contract. Tell came in on a short-term contract to impact the team. We've got worse. We've got worse.
Yeah.
We
Like,
should
we
have
can't
gone out.
defend Tell.
Still, we
Excuse
should have
Ange's
gone
mate,
out
man.
and got an older, experienced
Defending Tell is bonkers. He did nothing
Maybe-
today. Didn't score,
maybe-
didn't create, no assists. That's his
Right.
job, to score, create, and assist. He did none of it. You can't defend it.
We should have got someone like a Perisic, yeah?
Like a Llorente, Dan. Like Llorente.
Someone who's been there, done it, got the storybook and that.
Yeah.
Okay, not at his best coming down, but he's got it upstairs.
Or played Mikey
No.
Moore and developed him like we did with Bergvall.
Correct.
Just play Mikey Moore. Why is he not? Why has he been? He's not even in the squad anymore.
Anyway, but I mean,
He's not even in the squad.
I know it's criminal, like the fella says on here. But
Shut the
I
academy down. We don't need an academy. It's
I
pointless.
think
What's
instead
the
of
time?
getting another kid, which we just seem to get a habit of doing, we should have got an established player who's been there, done it, got the storybook, but not getting so many games in his team anymore because he's not as good as he was. We needed someone with a football brain on that pitch. We needed someone with experience on there, not another fucking little schoolboy who hasn't played more than a season of football or
We could have-
has never played in the Premier League.
You're bang
But
on.
didn't even want to sign for us as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to come to. That's what I was going to
Listen,
come to.
as much as I can't stand him, and I think he's a bang average player, at least Johnson can turn around and say to me, "Yo, Stel, I'm the top scorer at the club," and I'd have to say, "Shit, my argument's in trouble now." Tell can't say nothing. He hasn't got a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
It wasn't the right purchase. Loan
Luba,
bid.
I said it when we signed him. I said it when we signed him.
It was
Like,
wrong.
who is he? What I said, who is this guy?
Still,
You don't even know
the
him.
whole thing in January. Dan, so I think we got an obligation to buy. I think
Danzo makes sense though because we were on our knees. We had no defenders at the club. He's got experience. He's got physical strength. Danzo made sense. You could see a reason for it. You kind of got it.
The other two were pointless signings. Kinski was a pointless signing.
Kinski's a joke. It's an absolute scam.
You got
Mate,
Austin.
there must be brown envelops and backhanders involved with
I
that.
don't
There
know.
has to be.
You've got Austin,
We're
you've
gonna
got
sign
two
Kinski
young
somewhere,
coming
we-
through, who hopefully will develop into really good keepers. There was absolutely no need. I thought Austin had a really good game against Newcastle. Looked really competent, didn't he?
Ian, I have to hit back at this. I know Austin looked great in the game, but there's a reason he's been a third goalkeeper for his entire career, and there's a reason why he's never himself with his agents attempted to make a move for first team football. He is 27. How old is he? He's 27.
25. He's 25.
25. All right, but he's never made that move. He's never tried to. He's comfortable at Spurs. He has what he wants. It's not like he ever would. I don't think he has realistic aspirations of ever making it at Spurs because he's been our third goalkeeper for.
Or he's been told, hang around, your time will come, and he's been mugged off.
As a
this
professional
season.
footballer, you don't like if you want something, you don't wait for it in the
Alex,
voice of your club. You go and get it. And
Alex,
there's a reason. When we've had goalkeepers out, why Austin he hasn't gotten opportunities, you could argue, but etc. But for the goalkeeper coaches to see something in him and actually play him, he must have been talented, as we say. But
Alex, our goalie coaches highly rate him. I've spoken to them; they highly rate him, and they've said he should be the number 2. They've said it, and Ange's come in. He's given him some minutes. He done all right. I think he won man of the match against Newcastle. And then how do we reward him? We sign another goalie to play the next game. It's ridiculous, man.
And then
who does that?
I think we played him against. Did we play him against Tamworth?
No, we played.
No, he only got.
We
played against Newcastle and Hoffenheim. We played against Hoffenheim and we won 3-2.
Stay out there, yeah. And in the Hoffenheim game, he didn't look top. He didn't. He could have made us. But either way, it's not about.
You don't know. See, this is what winds me up, Alex. Alex, you know what? This is what winds me up.
I get your point, but we were going to sign.
You don't know. I don't know. None of us know if Austin is good enough, right? We don't know. We can only go by what we hear in the club or people that we know. The only time you know is if he's given 10 games in a row. Let's judge. But how many times I said it? Our academy players never get the minutes. We'd rather sign a player and give them lots of minutes and they end up flopping than actually saying to one of our own players, do you know what? Fuck signing Tell. Fuck signing all these randoms. Let Mikey Moore and Lancashire play for 10 games. How can it be much worse? Please tell me how we could be any worse by playing Moore and Lancashire for 10 games.
Yeah,
we can't.
I get the point, but
I agree.
Same with Brandon Austin. The same with Gunter, Whiteman, Donnelly. All these kids are mugged off at Spurs. It's a scam. Our academy is a scam,
especially our defensive ones as well. And I'm sorry, but I will bring this up, but I don't want it to go no further. But again, I will stick by what I have said all season. Why the fuck did we bother with Archie Gray when we needed experience on that bloody pitch and we already had youth players that could cover those bloody positions? Yes, I think he's going to end up good. But my point is, we went out for the kid again, same as we did Bergvall, same as we've gone Tell, and look at where we are standing. You just can't have a whole team run of kids.
But you ban on it.
At the moment, still, I agree with you. It's not going to get any worse. Tonight, I think we would have actually been better in defence if Archie Gray would have been there instead of Romero.
You wait until you see your brother Harry Gray play.
The league is a write-off, right? The league is an absolute write-off. How many weeks have we been saying, just let the kids play for the remainder of the season? It can't be any worse than 17th. It can't. It really can't. But here we are, persevering with this stupid project, and we're getting worse.
But it's meant to be a project of age, and the young players don't even get a look in. The only reason Archie Gray even saw that pitch this season is because when we played a crap team like Karabag, or because there were so many injuries. Bergvall actually has fought his way into that team and got in the team.
The youngsters do get a look in. Our academy players don't get a look in. Our academy players don't get a look in.
Yeah, but if we wouldn't have got the injuries that we got this year, Archie Gray wouldn't have been on that pitch.
I
agree.
In answer to your question, in answer to what you said, Dan, about bringing players in the summer, 16 went out. 16. Five came in, and Spence came back to play. Yeah. The rest of the guys that were floating around loans went out. A lot of them went out again. So we were 10 down.
Yeah, but we're 10 down. You're making me right, Ian. So we're 10 players down. We've got rid of players with experience, and we then go and bring on players that wouldn't have never even played in the Premier League, that wouldn't even see the Premier League time unless we had the injury row at the back. We did. But when we sold experienced players like Højbjerg, who I did not want to sell, and Ellie didn't want him to go, but everyone wanted him out.
Yeah,
I bet you would all love to have him now as a choice. Sure.
Could I just
1 minute. Yeah? Let Dan 1 minute. Ian started his point, never got to finish it. Ian, let Ian finish his point.
No, my point is that 16 went out, 6 came in, and we're short of several established players. So we've got 10 less players knocking around, and we've lost a lot of experience. So the problem is, Dan, if you've got good kids coming in, you pick them up. But if you get rid of established players, you've got to replace them.
Yeah, and we went and bought bloody kids.
But you know what? We had a net spend. When you take wages into account, we had a net spend of 30 million. We had an operating profit of 144 million.
Yeah, Ian, I couldn't give a
So-
flying fuck, mate.
No,
We
Dan.
could've gone and got a more
point I'm making,
established
Dan,
player.
hang on. The
at
point I'm
40
making
million.
is that the
Dan,
money
let him
was
finish. Dan, let him finish. Let him finish.
the point I'm making is the money was there to go out and get 3 more established players.
Yeah, but no, Ian, you've now contradicted yourself again. You are the one who sits there and tells me that Levy is not a good businessman because we got no money at the club, and now you're telling me that there was the money there to buy the players. Make your mind up.
No, the money's there. The money's
But
there. He chooses
you
not
keep
to
telling me on other shows that we've got no money.
Dan, he chooses not to spend it. He could stretch himself. He could push himself. But he chooses not to. Every other chairman does that, except ours. Pretty much.
Yeah, but you tell me we've got no money because of him. That he's a terrible businessman, this,
It's
that,
a
and
question
that.
of debt. I don't think he is a good businessman, to be honest.
No, but you keep going from he's a bad businessman, and we have no money to buy anything, and then you state we had the money to buy Archie Gray and someone else. What I'm stating is here,
I've said that
is
all along. I've said that all along.
but
The
you've
problem-
said many
the
a
problem
time that
had
we've
with
got no
midfield-
bloody money to spend.
Dan, Ange wanted Gallagher the whole summer. He also wanted Neto, and Chelsea blew us out the water. So if he'd have bought Gallagher and Neto, he would have spent a lot more than the net spend of 30 million.
Right. I'm going to do what Dave just said I'm going to do because he knows me. He knows me too well. He's known me 25 years. Who the hell should we have gone and got? Archie Gray or Locatelli, who was blatantly on the market?
Yeah, both. Why both? Sorry, this is Tottenham Hotspur. We're not
Exactly.
Blackpool.
We don't do that. At
You
Tottenham
get
Hotspur-
both, Dan.
Yes, that is what a logic club does. That is what a normal club does. But we are not that. we are Tottenham. And it's always one or the other. We should have gone and got an established player on that pitch because we lost about, what, like you said, about 16 players, and at least 8 of them were experienced players.
All right,
And then
guys,
we
I
go
love
and
you
get
both. Right,
Could I
love
just-
you both.
I
We're
just
not.
want to
Well, no,
leave
1 minute. Alex, 1 second. Right, we are not doing this argument yet again with the same argument, the same narrative. Right? We've been here all season. Dan's going to say we should have signed this instead of that. Ian's going to say we should have signed both. Then Dan's going to say, no, we should have picked one. And Ian's going to say, no, we got the money for both. And we just go in this loop for an hour. And then in a month's time, we'll have the same argument. It's all your fault, Dan. As soon as you mention Archie Gray, it all goes tits
Yeah,
up.
but there's points where you actually
As
have
soon as
to
you mention, and you've got
No,
David
no,
down
that's
there winding him up. Oh, yeah, Archie Gray's brother. Yeah.
No, I wasn't
I
doing
haven't
it.
even got round to Locatelli yet.
Well, that I know. I just said that he was on the bloody
I
market.
can't do this
Why
anymore. I
couldn't we
can't.
get him?
I've got nothing left, man. I've got nothing
Move it on,
left.
Still
Could
move
I
it
just
on.
end this
Move it
Archie
on.
Gray? Could I just, with a few sentences? I'm just going to end.
As long as you don't mention Archie Gray's name.
No,
All right,
listen,
well,
at the end of the day,
I'm talking to Alex.
The primary reason for why we signed him was because Brentford were in for him, and that caused our extra stretch of urgency to sign him because Brentford were in for him, and it's a typical Levy thing. Look at Bergerac, for example. You could argue it was the same with Barcelona, but with the way we operate as a club under Levy, this another club that's in for him. We have to get him. If we actually were serious, we could convince Archie. Okay, you could do like this pre-contract arrangement thing. You could talk with him in the summer. You go on and sign an experienced player, and then he joins in January. Do something like
Like
that.
we did with the Dogi.
Yeah, but the fact that they brought him in and they brought him in as not as an established midfielder to upgrade 11 with. And I'm not against I'm not against anything. I believe in his talent like a lot. I'm not someone that says that we should have loaned him, blah blah blah, all these things. It was a mistake for us to sign him because for Levy, he's a player with resale value. He's an investment. He was never this established player to come into the squad and actually give us proper competition for those midfield places. He was never that, and it's pure neglect because the fact that we didn't bring anyone in that was planned to start the midfield at the end of the season, And the fact that we haven't even signed the midfielder. We haven't even signed the midfielder because he's played in defense all season. So our midfield squad in general is just, or depth, it's gotten worse with the fact that he wasn't even signed as a midfielder. He was signed for something in the future, and it wasn't like because we should have signed him in January and got an experienced player in the summer. It's simple, but yeah, that transfer window was a catastrophe, and it was the biggest.
Every transfer window is a catastrophe at this club.
Yeah,
Look, got a couple of super chats. Let me get a couple of super chats in. A user says, "I always said this player's checked out long time ago." A user again, fun fact for the doubters, the cult members: between March and August 2016, not a single player tackled Moussa Dembele. Now look where we have fallen to. And then Saverin to stir up the pot. I just hope we buy Archie Gray's brother, generational and Dibbling and yeah, Sam's on a wind up. He's trying to trigger Lubo. Listen, guys, we are going to wrap it up because we've been going over for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'll just go around the panel quickly, let everyone have a say. Just to let you guys know, normally on a Monday night we do our Monday night show. It's been moved to tomorrow because Spurs are playing. So tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Europa Cup or bust. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this game yet again. Come and join us 8:30 on YouTube tomorrow. Mari, brother, any final words you want to say? Archie Gray's brother? No.
Well, we were shit tonight, and I guess we're gonna expect no effort the rest of the season. Everything is on the Europa. This team just disgusts me more and more that I see them, minus Thursday's game. And if we just happen to win that competition, the Europa, I'll be happy. But I want Ange gone. I want Ange so gone. I don't want to even think of the thought of him starting next season. I'm done with Ange. I'm done. I'm done with Ange. I'm done with this team. After this team, I want them to go, and I'm just done. This guy is a clown. This team's a clown, and the fan base. I don't even want to go in more into them, but it's pathetic. I have nothing more to say. Nothing positive to say.
Dan, you got any shows this week? You live? You must be live. You and David must be live at some point, surely.
Yeah, I'll be doing something this week. And that's all I can end that on is basically same Spurs, different day. And the fact that Romero had to come off for Davis and Van der Ven had to come off for Danso, who I think has actually been quite good here, it just about sums up a few things. We are, as a club, as a team, and with that manager, I mean, forget the chairman at the minute. The main problem right now for me is the manager. He's an absolute fucking clown. He couldn't even win a season on Football Manager. Honestly, I think he's the worst manager I have ever seen in the Premier League. And some will say that would be harsh. Tell me worse. Tell me a worse manager. He is worse than fucking Christian Gross. And that was just one of those things that's wasn't gonna happen. Like that sort of thing happens to the man down the road, sort of thing. People wake up and smell the coffee. This fella has got to go.
And out. Lubo, you were there tonight. Any final words? Oh, there we go. Look at that. Get it ready. Get it ready. Time for change. But yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. That's Lubo's final words. David, any final words you want to share with us?
Yeah, so obviously thanks to everyone in the chat tonight. It's been good fun. I just think us as a fan base, just to finish off, we need to be a fan base that demands more. So whether that's Daniel Levy off the pitch, time for change, don't go down the notion of we can lose this game if we can focus on the next game. We're not that good. We need to be focused on winning every single game. We cross over that white line wearing a Tottenham Hotspur football shirt. At the end of the day, we're not good enough to sit there and go, let's rest some players. We've got the Europa League. The Europa League will be hard. Let's get behind the team. I hope Ange goes at the end of the season, but I also hope we win the Europa League. So let's just get behind them, but demand more going forward. Demand more from your club. Demand more from your players. Expect more. That's how I'll finish it. Thank you.
Demand more. Alex, can you type something in the chat? Otherwise, I can't mod you because I need to click on your name.
Well, it doesn't load for some reason. Yeah, my last words is really I just pray and I hope I can get my my Tottenham back, that I don't fall asleep to watching, or most specifically that I don't like watch, because when I watch this nowadays, I have the game on, but I can't stay focused. I lose track of somebody and I end up looking at something else, and it happens at least once, twice every minute. I just wish, given my Tottenham back, that I can watch for 90 minutes straight. It's that simple. Right? The last word, yeah.
Yep. My last words, I don't care. Bring on the summer. Let's get down the pub. Let's drink. Let's enjoy the hot weather. I couldn't care less about football. Big up to William, to Ryan, to Ian, to A-User, to Scott M, Henry Thong, Edex, A-User, loads more, Sava. Big up to all the super chat guys. Thank you so much. Everyone in the comments section, big up to you as well. And also tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., we will be live. We will be doing some other shows in the week, and then the watch-alongs, and we've got Liverpool coming up. I mean, brace for impact, people. Brace for impact. They're going to want to win the league title at home in front of their fans, and we are going to be cannon fodder. God help us. But look, otherwise, make sure you subscribe to Dan's channel. Get over to the Hotspur Hood. Follow Dan. Sava as well. Football Heritage TV. Get over and follow Sava as well. I think Sava's almost at 20,000 subs. Dan, what are you on now? Are you closing in on 5,000, 6,000?
4,250 I got at the moment.
All right, so 5,000, road to 5,000 for Dan. Make sure you go and support his channel. Big up to all the panel as always. And do you know what? It is what it is. Let's just pray to God for a miracle in the Europa Cup. Come on, you Spurs, Archie Gray's brother, and free Mikey Moore.
And
up to David's youthful cream that he puts on his face. Well done.
And
The